Good evening, everybody. DJ Styles. I'm going to go live for you guys right now. Let me try to. There we go. Just make sure I'm not blocking the camera like I did the other video. All right. I think I want to make sure it's centered here. There we go. Okay. Okay, I'm looking at the original mask right now. And just want to make a small adjustment on the eye cut. And that's that right in the corner here. All right. Yeah, that's where it needs to be there. But I think I got to put a little bit of a, I don't know. How to achieve this is going to be an interesting thing. So, how do I want to do this? Do I want to put a little piece of clay there? I haven't even heated up my clay in my hand yet, so it's kind of. What I'm trying to do is I'm putting that little hook that's on the eye cut in there. You know, some would say, it looks good the way it is, you know, but it's really not that accurate. So I'm going to go back to the original 78. I have the still shot of it. Pretty cool. And I'll have to shape it in, I guess. I'm still not so sure I want to do this. Yeah, well, no risk, no reward, as they say. How do I? Okay. I think I know how I'm going to tackle this. Which direction here? Okay, let me get this little bead in here. I need to put a little bit of clay right in this corner here. Now I got to dig it out. I didn't go deep enough on this last time, so. All right. I need my little shaper. Digging it. That's all right. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. Hey guys, I think I'm making it work. It's working. Actually, don't look bad. Keep digging into this area though, just to get that shape just right. see something here. Ever such a small amount of clay that I just put in here. Once again, guys, I don't have any way to monitor. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. See, I just had to put a little clay up in the upper portion, right up against where that crevice is, to give it that accurate look. Now what I need to do is make sure that this is smoothed in. Alright, now, how do I want to smooth that even better? I just got to make sure there's no seam there. So, alright, so we're going to use a loop tool and just make sure. Let me turn it a little bit this way. So I couldn't dig further in. I didn't want to change the depth at all, so I pushed out. I put. Let me use a pointer. I need something to point so you can. It's sharp. Oh, this is close enough. You can see that. See right into this, right into that little crevice there. Of course, the light's there. Right into that little tiny crevice there. I didn't want to dig any further into the nose. So what I did was I put the clay right here, right above it. I packed it out just a little bit. You just watch what I did, and it gave me the actual really good look of but I rounded that off just a little too much. So what I'm going to do is sharpen that edge. How do I want to sharpen that edge? I'm going to remember the tool to get in there. Yeah, it's a pretty sharp edge. Well, it's not really that sharp. I'm looking at the picture. Come on, get off of there. Only when clay sticks. Oh, I see what I'm going to do. Okay. I see how I'm going to do this. In this case, I am digging in, but ever so slight, right into this corner. Now I'm going to turn it towards you. and then I'll show you what I did. Can you see now? I packed this out just a little bit. The light is terrible. I packed it out right up in here just a little bit, and then snuck that in just a little bit. And which reminds me, I'll use this here. Smooth that in. Smooth this out just a little bit. And now I can do a little naphtha in there. Let's do a little naphtha, guys. Naphtha time! Yeah, oh yeah, that does look good. That's looking really nice. Yeah, we don't need to do too much more than that. It just has to have a little bit of that authentic look to the eye cut. It's just that little tiny adjustment there. It's not much of an adjustment, but it's an important one. It is. I really need to make sure that this is smooth because you don't want any of those imperfections showing up in your casting. Now I've been debating. I don't know that I'm going to do the same method when I cast this time, or cast it when I mold this. I think I'm going to use a new technique. I'm going to try. I'm going to order it, and I'm going to make a resin mold of this guy, so I don't have to go through the urethane rubber process of making the master out of any kind of urethane. See what I can actually do. Right, so that looks great, guys. That really turned out nice. I was a little hesitant because of the way I was going to approach it. But getting back to it, I want to do the urethane master because then all I have to do is slush cast the large mask, which you're not going to really use the large mask as much as you will the smaller mask because this large mask is really big. So instead of making a master copy of the large casting, I can make a resin master mold that will never go bad. So I don't ever have to worry about losing detail to this mask ever. The resin will last forever. And I think that's what I'm going to do instead of having urethane masks laying around the house that I have to, once again store. Well, I still have to store the resin mold, but it's a lot lighter. I can hang it on a hook, put it in the shed. I can do it. I can put it anywhere. But the master copies out of urethane, yeah, it's good, but they're also problematic when you're making the master copies because sometimes imperfections kind of sneak in on you. Where doing it this way, I don't ever have to worry about the imperfections. I think I'll be in good shape there. But I wanted to tackle this lip area. It's a little too high in this area. So what I'm going to do, and I also can feel something that's just not supposed to be like that. All right, where did the tool go? There we go. And I'm going to fix this little air bubble thing situation here too. I'm trying to keep this clay in my hand now because I want to. God, I wish I had a little. I do. I have one. I have a little. There it is. Yeah, I have one that's. But boy, this isn't very sharp. These tools, I'm going to have to sharpen these, I think. I gotta get a grinder. I've been avoiding it, but I'm gonna have to get one. Because I need to be able to sharpen my clay tools. I don't like this. I got to be able to sharpen this. See these tools? These edges have to be fairly sharp to really give you a nice cutting edge. These here, I bought these tools locally, and none of the edges are sharp. They're all squared off, and that's not good. So I'm either going to file this, or I'm going to have to, yeah, I definitely have to do something about this. Okay, all right, that ain't going to cut it. Believe it or not, the cheapest tools were the best tools. Just cutting that lip down a little further in to make it more accurate. And I got to smooth it a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks so much better. Yeah, that cuts in. See, oh wow, that looks so much better. So much better. Come on, get off of there. That's what happens. You don't keep your clay warm. It's a little on the clumpy side. Now, do I need to do the same thing on the other side? Not really. This side looks pretty good. It's this side that wasn't right. Alright, so now I need the hoop, large hoop, to blend it a little bit because it's a smaller area. And all I'm doing is just blending right where I was cutting and straightening out right into the corner there. Well, that gives it a whole natural look now. It just looks more natural. And man, am I taking little tiny pieces of clay off of that. I'm not really taking a lot off on that. No, that's it, man. That really is it. Now, let me see if this shape looks right. I'm actually looking at the original mask right now. The 78 original. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I think I'm gonna leave it alone. There's one thing I want to do to this that it's just a little something that I think that gets overlooked a lot. That's little tiny like lip lines in here. not pressing very hard onto this. Just a little bit, that's all. And then once I use the naphtha over that, that'll smooth that out, and you'll have those natural lines in there. And you're just finding the lowest part, and then that's see what that looks like. Not bad. Okay, now we'll take that same naphtha and we'll make that become natural looking by smoothing it out. And I definitely don't want to put too much naphtha on there. Believe it or not, those lines are there, but they're so minute. They're so there, but they'll catch paint when you finally go to paint this. Wow, I'm really happy with that eye cut now. It didn't look too round. It didn't look too fake. This eye cut now, right? This little thing adds so much to the character. It really does. Just that little tiny adjustment. And I'm not so sure I like the corners being done like that. Let me see something. Yeah, I don't like that. Alright, so I put these little lines in here. I just don't like them. You know, I can make them more accurate and everything. I just don't like those extra lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth that back out. Keep it like the original mask. See, that's what the one thing I can say about doing this mask with multiple using multiple masks, not just like the original mask or you know, a copy of somebody else. This is a combination of all the masks together, and this is what I think looks the best. I do. I mean, that's my opinion. You know, you tell me yours. But I think what I like about this, by having the multiple usages of, like, you know, the best, you got the best of both, all the worlds thrown into one. And this way, it remains still to be your original sculpture. Um, I don't want it to be an exact replica of somebody else's work. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there, you know, Nag, one of them. I love Nag's masks. They're identical, they're pretty close to identical to the original uh, mask, but, and that's exactly why I don't want to copy that, because they already actually have achieved that. So what's the point? Why don't you just buy a Nag mask? You know, this is going to be something unique. It's going to sit on your shelf that will be its own representative, own representative of the Myers sculpture. You know, it'll be its own entity. It'll have its own look. Very unique look, if you ask me. I think it's, yeah, I still have to smooth it out better. In here. Yeah, maybe I'll leave a little bit of ruffle there, so you can see something's going on in there, but not, you can't really. It's not real definitive. It's not real definitive. You know, some parts of this sculpture I say, yeah, you know, whatever, you know, and in some sculpts, in some areas, I really, really want it accurate. It's not rocket scientist. It's not rocket science by no means. It's still art. Yeah, it looks a lot better. It's smoothed out now. Just gives it that little extra. Yeah, you can see just a little tiny bit there, which is cool because it just gives it that, like, oh, how did that happen? How did that happen? Look, you know. And I'm not doing anything to the other side. This side looks really good. I mean, it's really on. It's accurate. Yes, it is. Yeah, the 2 points come in at the exact same spots. The bottom of this where this eye comes in, and then where the top over. Let me do it again. Pointer. Where this eye comes in and meets the bottom part, they're balanced. They're exactly in the same spot when you look across from each other. That's important. Sometimes people bring this up and it's up too high or it's too low. You got to have that all the way across. Those points have to come in at the exact same level. You get what I'm saying? These are little things that really can mess up the eye cuts. And believe me, they're so small in detail that definitely overlook them. Yeah, oh man, it's so easy to overlook that. It really is. Yeah, I really like the way that snuck in there now. Yeah, that looks a lot better. And the only thing I'm not liking is this little bulge here or something. Aha. Well, I got it. I figured it out. A little tiny bulge I gotta take out of there. I want to use it. Yeah, I want to use a. Okay. I means I got to put more lines there because I just dug them out. I think I got, no, I don't have enough. Sometimes the naphtha, it dries really quick on your brush, so you got to really, now this time I'm going to wipe off a lot of the naphtha. I don't want, because this is already soft. So you don't want to apply too much naphtha on there. Yeah, see how it's barely damp? Oh yeah, that did it. I knew something wasn't right there. I'm going to call this mouth area is really done. Yeah. And it's cut back into the face a lot better. It just really looks balanced. It does. Really looks good. I don't want to touch it because it's still wet with the naphtha in here, but I want to feel this with my finger to see if there's any bulge or any, did I get it out right? Did I do it right? Best way to know is really by touch. But I want that really firm before I touch that. Okay, so what can I do next? Well, I can work on the chin area. Yeah, why not? All right, I gotta go behind the camera and I gotta go grab my piece of foam to lay in behind this because I gotta tilt this whole thing back so I can work underneath and the neck. I have to work on this neck area and the chin underneath. But I have to lay this down and I definitely don't want to get it damaged as I lay it down. So let's do that. Let me get the piece of foam that I have that I use. Get my grabber. This old butt doesn't bend too well because of my back. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, man. Okay, so I'm going to fold this thing up here. I'm going to pull this forward. That just opened up some imperfections that I wasn't aware of. Cool. Seeing some stuff under here, underneath this lip, which I can fix. Oh, look at all this fun work I got to do here. Wow. Oh, man. Also, I see where this is a little bit too flat in here. I have to throw, let me see, it might be just an illusion. All I'm doing is just bringing it in. Just smoothing it in so it doesn't have that clayed edges. You don't want edges. That's the key. You don't want a lot of edges. Okay, so let's bring in my big tool here. And I'm going to kind of blend this in. This is too high, this edge here on the bottom. I don't want this. Gotta make sure I keep this cleared and clean because I have to really smooth up underneath it here. Man, what is that? There's always something in the clay. The problem is when it, see, I never take this clay off of here, so any kind of little stone or every little speck of any dirt gets in there, you have to constantly clean it as your that was actually a pretty big piece of whatever the hell it was. Oh yeah, piece of hard stuff. I can hear it. Okay, so and that causes your rake to leave marks whenever you get something stuck in your clay. So do yourself a favor and make sure that you. Now what I'm doing here is I'm taking off all the rake. And now I can see how this chin's coming in where it's not rounded enough right on the base. It looks like it's literally squared off. So I can round this area. In other words, this edge comes down and then there's this sharp edge like along here. You don't want that. You want to make sure that this is kind of rounded. And then it's just a matter of smoothing out. This is pretty accurate to where and I never work in one spot because you can't, you have to remember everything's about sneaking it in. Never work in just one area because all of a sudden you'll go, oh my God, I dug too far here, or and then you have to readjust everything. Or you're putting more clay back on, and that's not what you want to do. You want to just work at it a little bit at a time. I can see that this side here is out of balance with this side. And this is a little bit low, this is a little bit high. So we're going to it's so important to look at your sculpture from every possible angle because you will see something that you weren't aware that was there when you do. Oh yeah, that's starting to come into play. That's starting to really look good there. And look how sharp that edge is. Man, it's just not cutting it. Gotta be a little more round than that. And as I round that side, I realize that this side's still sticking out too far. So it's, oh. You just have to keep working it, guys. No weird bumps or lumps. It's all about the smoothness. We have some lumps and bumps, but not so evident. You never have sharp edges on your face. There's never an area where there's a sharp edge. Even in your crevices where your cheek lines are, there's never a sharp edge. It's always got some smoothness to it. Because it is a natural wrinkle. It's not a wow, I'm going to be so happy with this sculpture when I'm done because I'm really going the extra mile to make sure that this is really close to what I want. My vision of a good Michael Myers. All right, now, see, I need some hoop work. Maybe not. See, that's too tight. Too tight. I gotta get in here. There's some clay that needs to be smoothed into the face. Yeah, man. Yeah, if I can get this neckline done on this side, I can work on the back. If I get the jawline all finished up nice, I'm gonna be a happy camper tonight. This isn't as fun as watching me work on the face, by no means. I dig it. I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. But I think that's partially the problem with sculpting is once you get done the spots where you really enjoy doing, then it's all about getting the rest done right, making sure that everything looks good. And we're not gonna mess it up by not doing that area that you don't really enjoy working on. We want to make sure everything looks good. Man, little trouble spot. Okay, let me see if I can get it with this. Oh yeah. Come on. Working in the centerpiece, this is where the neck is here. Alright, how do I want to do this? Now I'm going to use the other. Now I'm just trying to really make it smooth underneath and get the high spots off of all the little imperfections. And believe me, there's quite a few high spots. Don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. You're coming with me. Wow, I'm really liking this. This is a nice piece of work here. Yes, it is. A lot of time spent trial and error trying to get this to look the way it should. You know, I feel like sometimes you just feel like you're walking away and you're just not happy enough. It's not quite right. It's not quite right. And whatever you do, don't give up. I think in my first trial and error with this, when you're learning how to do the sculpture, when you're learning how to do the Michael Myers sculpture, you can't give up. You can't say, well, yeah, it looks good enough. Ooh, man, if you got if you got the slightest little bit of like question, or a dislike about the sculpture, fix it. You know, and now that I'm looking up at this, I don't like the way this nose looks. This side's higher than the other, but man, oh man, do I really want to mess with that? Why is that? What am I seeing? Yeah, I think what it is, I'm looking into the hole, the actual holes of the. Yeah, oh yeah, you know what? That's so funny. That's actually pretty accurate. This hole goes up a little higher on this side than it does on that side, if you're looking at this mask. That's not what I need to happen. Alright, knock all my tools down. That's alright, I have to clean up now. Yeah, that's not cool. Alright, hopefully my back of my head didn't get damaged, but I don't think it did. Because the cushion just slid down on the cushion. I just have to come up. I gotta do something better with this cushion situation. Let's think. See? Accidents happen. You've seen it live. Things happen. Yeah, but I ain't worried about the back of the head as much as I am this face. This back of the head I can fix all day long. But I gotta get these tools up before I go forward with this. You know what? Reach my grabber. Slide my chair back. Oh yeah. Hopefully I didn't knock the camera all over the place. Oh, what the heck? My main tool. You know what I'm going to do? Put everything over to the side, like I should have had right at the beginning. Yeah, don't ever get a bad back, guys. I mean, it don't matter how old you are either. I hurt my back when I was in my 20s. And it ain't no picnic, man. Ain't no joke. You know, I heard it, but I wasn't as bad off as I am now. You know, age kicks in, arthritis kicks in. My back actually got naturally fused over the years because I never had surgery done, didn't have the money for it, nor the time. I always think you don't have enough time. Well, in my case, I really didn't. I worked and kept working and never took the time to heal my body. And boy, am I paying for that now. So, it's kind of not functioning too well. Yeah, wow, that really changed the way this chin looked just by taking off that sharp edge underneath. And I can see how this is coming in now. Yeah, that looks good. That's looking good, but I gotta take a look at that back. See if I damaged it. I don't think I did, but who knows. Anything on there? Nope, everything's good. That's just clay right up in here. I thought it was a scratch. A little bit of a scratch up in here, but that ain't nothing. I just put a little piece of clay in there and smooth it out. This whole top here still has to be smoothed out better. So, that being said, all right, how do I want to do this? I don't want it moving. All right. The problem was this bottom part here was sliding. Okay. That's better. That's more workable. Okay, the other thing I need to... trying to get all the lumpy things out of the way. Take all that real lumpy stuff out of there. Now I can see here there needs to be some clay there. And thank God I kept the clay in my hands because now it's somewhat warm. And all I'm doing here is I'm just trying to give this a smooth edge. Don't move. See, I'm putting a lot of force on this right now. See, the clay that was in my hands really warm now, so that it's pliable. It'll work. I can smooth it out with my hands. Sometimes working with your hands is the best way too, because I don't know, as an artist, I can feel the shape a lot better in my hand than I can just by looking at it by eye. It's a combination of having your hand where it needs to be, or your hands on it and your eyesight at the same time. If that makes sense. I don't know. I'm talking gibberish right now because I'm trying to get this thing to look right. Trying to get all the little imperfections in this neckline right. Yeah, that's starting to feel like it's supposed to feel. I gotta come up with a catchphrase for this. What does this mean? It feels like it looks. Or it looks how it feels. Nah, I think I like feels like it looks. Now there's a little tiny hole right there. There's one right there, and I want to make sure that I push that into that hole and smooth it in. See that? It magically disappeared. So that's what you do when you're now I want to get all these high spots out of here. Start working on smoothing. Start working on the smoothing process and bring out a sharper edge by doing what I'm doing here to the base of the, right along this edge. I want it fairly sharp. Um, yeah. You ain't getting away. I saw you fall over here. All right, there you go. You're back. You're back with the rest of your friends. You just have to keep working this clay. You can't just um, think that this is going to happen real fast. It's not. It's a long process. I can't imagine sitting there watching somebody sculpting every little detail without using high speed footage. Yeah, now it's about smoothing. Yep, now it's all about smoothing and getting all those little. Yeah, that chin line looks good now. I really dug into this side when I was fixing it. I can see the cut lines. Trying to get them out. You have to go in every direction to get the cut lines out. Whenever you cut into a piece of clay, you're always going to create these streaks of little lines, and they got to be gone. Okay. Now is this going to get in there? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I'm trying to make the neck really circular, really nice and circular. It'll help when the mask fits on your face. In the end, I don't like the mask being flared out. That flare out's because latex will naturally want to do that anyway. And the last thing I want to do is add to that nightmare that we all face with this battle, trying to make the neckline literally come straight down. So talk to me, people. I know you're on there. There's at least one or two. I can't see. I can't tell right now. I don't even have my glasses on, so I can't see the. I really need my glasses off to see what I'm doing here. It's all about smoothing out now, man. Just smooth it out as much as I can with the tools. And then the rest I'll smooth out with my naphtha. That feels about the same height. The lighting will throw you off, but it feels right. That's where if the lighting's bad, use your fingers, feel it. See if this side's bulging out just the same, about the same distance as this side, and it is. So when I go to tilt this back upright, it should look pretty balanced. Um, I'm just trying to lower these a little bit more at the bottom. Kind of blend right into the neckline, right into the neck. I don't want them to go probably, well, maybe, I don't know. Oh yeah. Starting to look pretty good, guys, I think. It's funny, when I first started doing this, I was accused that I copied other work, or not. Literally, I think what they meant, I think that they were trying to say is I actually casted or made a mold out of somebody else's finished mask. And no, I'm actually sculpting in real time here. I started with the slapping clay on this armature over a year ago. Oh yeah, it's been longer than that. You know, but I kept retooling it. I kept retooling it over and over again because I just never quite happy. Um, Trying to get it right, trying to make it look good. You know. Anyway, now this is my own sculpture. So, and I don't hate on anybody because there's a lot of people out there that are fake, and I get it, I do. And this is a very um, you know, I looked up a couple of sculptures from. There's a couple artists out there that are sculpting like life casts of people. Only they're sculpting from the start. And there's a Clint Eastwood out there. There's a sculpture of Clint Eastwood. If you can find that sculpture and look at that artist is amazing. I don't know who that guy is. I actually think I saved the picture on my computer. But my God, talk about perfection. I'm nowhere near that level, that's for sure. Oh my God, that was his his rendition of Clint Eastwood, as Clint Eastwood was when he was fairly young, not real young, but he wasn't. He was younger. Really, oh my God, such a beautiful piece. I would love to ask that artist how long it took him to do that, because man, talk about some people are just so good, you know. I'll stick to doing the Myers compared to that kind of that's a whole different level of sculpting right there. I think I'm in the middle of the road. That's where I'm at. You know, as a Myers mask, I don't think it's as nearly as hard as that Clint Eastwood sculpture. You know, so I don't know. I find it. And again, I think, you know, here's another thing too that we do is we study the Myers mask. We study it. We study all the things we like about it. We study the Shatner. We study these pictures over and over again. And I'm sure that the guy that did the Clint Eastwood did the same thing with Clint Eastwood. He studied his face and almost could shut his eyes and shape his face. Just kind of like what I'm starting to get to right now with this. Starting to feel like I can shut my eyes and know exactly how this is supposed to feel and look. Kind of weird, but it's true, guys. The more you do these, the more accurate your sculptures become. I don't think you can nail this thing on your first time out. I just don't believe that's possible. You don't have enough knowledge, or you don't have enough, I guess, knowledge to know exactly how to make it more accurate. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. What am I saying, guys? You tell me. What do I mean? Huh? What am I talking about? Be careful when you're sculpting and you see like shadowing and well, something's lumpy there, and it turns out it wasn't really a lump. Always use your hand to feel it. Make sure that there's no lump that you thought was there. There's no lump there. Just needs smoothing is all. Just a constant. And I'm barely putting any pressure on this finger. When I touch this, I'm just really just trying to go in different directions. And all I'm trying to do is take the lines out. And see how little bit of clay that's on that? There's not very much clay on that. After all that scraping, there's very little clay. But I'm not trying to I'm not trying to shape anything at this point now. It's all about smoothing. It's not about shape. It's all about getting those lines out, getting those little imperfections out of this, I can still feel quite a few in here. The toughest areas is where we're right in the bend here, right in this area. That's tough to smooth in there because you don't have really tools that'll get up in there real good. I have this little spot that's driving me crazy. There's like this little bit of a seam here or something. Oh, I can feel it. You know what? I'm going to have to put a little piece of clay in there and then smooth it back out. All right, let me feel this. So I just keep my ball of clay in my left hand. Once in a while I put it down when I go to put some clay into. I gotta feel that. Yeah, I need very little clay here. I'm putting a little worm right in that spot. Look how tiny of a piece I'm putting in there. But just so I can get it to smooth out a little bit. I'm smoothing this in with my hand as much as I can, and then from there, as long as I get any, I don't want any, and you want to smooth it out in every direction. You don't want to smooth it out in just one direction. This way you're, just trying to see here. Looks like it's a little lower here. In other words, it's sticking down a little further on this side than the other side. So I'm going to fix that as I'm seeing it. Thing about his face is it's not perfect. None of our faces are perfect. So what's on this side doesn't necessarily have to be perfectly aligned with the other side. You want it close, but it don't have to be absolutely perfect. That is exactly what's unique about our faces. We don't have what is that? What is driving me crazy here? Something's okay. Smooth that out with my hand. So, yeah, you want to experiment with this idea? Well, it's kind of hard to do with a Michael Myers mask. But if you stand in front of the mirror, how did that trick work out? You have to split your face. All right, you split your face down the middle somehow. And remember, oh yeah, you take a picture of half your face, and then take that side and flip it over to the other side. Bring those seams together and take the same side of this face and put it on that side, and vice versa. And you can't believe how different you look when you do that. It'll blow your mind. You take a picture of half your face, then you superimpose this reversed onto this side. You just reverse the picture, and you put it on this side and line it back up right on the seam wherever you took your picture. And seeing your face as one side on your whole face, it blows your mind. It blows your mind. It's really cool effect. And but here nor there, that's something for you guys to try. And some of you probably already heard about that, or tried it before, or did it before. Some of you probably went, "Oh, I never did that." It's almost spooky. It's kind of spooky, man. Don't be alone when you do it. You'll freak yourself out. Especially you girls. You girls out there. I don't know if I have any girls following me on my YouTube. Hey, ladies, are you out there? Just curious. Any of you ladies out there following my work, I would appreciate the heads up. It's always nice to have, this is the kind of work here that no matter what sex you are, whether you're female, male, bi, or not bi is not a gender, transsexual? Yeah, transsexual. Guess I'm not supposed to say that on this channel. I don't know. I don't know what I'm allowed to do or don't anymore. It's confusing. So I apologize to YouTube if I crossed the line there. I apologize to all you guys if I crossed the line there. I'm not trying to make enemies. All friends. We're good. We're good. But this nose drives me crazy. Every time I look up into this thing, it drives me nuts. now that I look at the actual original mask is no different than this. It's really wild. It's how the heck is that possible? That's weird. Because the shape of the face, it determine. You know, when you get the shape right, when this is down and you're looking right at it, it is right on the money. It's right on the money. You tilt it back, now it makes the nose look like that's off, but that's because the face line is different on one side compared to the other, and it's no different on the actual sculpture. Let me see something. Oh yeah, same thing's happening to this. It's further back on this side. Let's see if you can see that. Further back on this side is it on this side. Now this is a different sculpture, so it's, but there's a big difference from this side to this side. Same with this. It's snuck back further. It's pretty wild. I guess that's one way to show that you're really pretty accurate with your sculpture. That's pretty cool. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, because if I put clay up in here just to try to balance the nose, it'll mess up this whole lip area. The lip area kind of in the same spot. It's just that the slant's a little bit different on this side than it is on this side. And you can't change that, because if you do, it changes the whole face. Huh. I keep learning shit as I go along here. That's pretty cool. Excuse me, stuff. I keep learning stuff here. Not shit. Well, my cough finally went away, guys. That was just from... But my cough is finally gone after about 2.5 months from COVID. Man, am I glad that's over with. Now I've got a natural immunity to it. Got to be happy about that. I'm not messing with any more shots. I get it now. See, that's the thing people don't realize. My wife's a pharmacist, and my family are all pharmacists, and they've all said the same thing. Once COVID mutated several times, it gets weaker and weaker every time something mutates. It's like the common flu. It mutates and it gets weaker and weaker, and before you know it, the flu that was once very powerful turns into the common cold. That's how the cold is actually developed. You do know that, right? The colds are actually old flus that have mutated, and every time something mutates, it gets weaker. It doesn't get stronger. It's so much bullshit that's out there. Excuse my language. And I'm not a pharmacist, no, but my cousins are all pharmacists. My wife's a pharmacist. We know the truth. So, well, I didn't want to go into that department, but I did. So I apologize. COVID, it's very real. It's very real. I have it. I had it. I even had all the vaccines. I never got my booster because there wasn't enough time. I actually had my second shot late August of last year. I was due to get the booster this February, and I got COVID before I got my booster. So I actually had the 2 shots and COVID. I'm not messing with the booster. There's no point to it at this point because I've had COVID. Now I have a natural immunity to it. And the next strain of COVID is going to be weaker. It's not going to be stronger. It's going to end up turning into a common cold over time. So, now, some say it's man-made, some say it isn't. My wife believes it's man-made because of the characteristics of it mutating so quickly is unnatural. And my cousins basically told me the same thing. you know. But if it's man-made, maybe that changes the rules. You know, but they don't want to admit that it's man-made. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what to believe anymore. There's so much fake stuff out there. You can't look at YouTube. It's sad because you get. I'm not anti-vaccination. I think you got to get vaccinated with something that's actually, especially if it is man-made, you better get the vaccination. There's conspiracies out there that they're trying to kill people with the vaccination and everything. I don't know if I buy into all that. You know, I think if something was like that going to be in our system and maybe it weakens your immune system, I don't know. I don't know what to believe. What can you do? What do you believe? You know, I'm not saying anything that isn't out there and everybody isn't, you know, doesn't know or haven't heard. I don't want to talk about that. You know what? Let's jump out of that. Enough of this nonsense. COVID's real. Protect yourself the best way you can. If you don't want to get the vaccination, fine. Don't. Who cares? It's your life. It's your decision. We are free. At least I hope we are. You know, the spreading of it, I don't think you can avoid it. I don't think masks will stop it. Not too many. It didn't stop it now, did it? Everybody still got it. Thank God they got the mutated version of it that wasn't as lethal. But I don't know, you know. Anyway, back to sculpting, guys. Let's get back to sculpting. Let's stick with this. This isn't, I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about things that I don't have answers to. I really don't. I don't have answers. Neither does 90% of us. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a specialist of any kind. I'm a sculptor. You know. I like to keep it real. I want to work on this stuff. I got 20 years of life left, maybe, if I'm lucky. I'm 60 years old. If I live to see 80, that'll be amazing. But, you know, do I want to spend 20 years of my life in misery, worrying about every little thing? Hell no, I don't give a damn about nothing anymore at this point in my life. Gonads to the wall, so to speak. I don't want to say the other thing. Keep it clean on this channel. Gonads to the wall. Those that don't know that old term, I guess you'll have to ask somebody. Gonads. Gonads, that's an old. We used to say that in the 70s. Gonads. I guess look up some slang words. You'll figure out. Or nads. Or nads. Anyway, got big nads. Oh yeah. Not afraid of anything. Never have been. Those who live in fear are controlled by fear. Now, sure, I for some reason, I don't think it's wise to jump out of a perfectly flying airplane, no matter what's on my back. I'm not a thrill seeker. I love scuba diving. I did high dive when I was young. I think I did all my thrill seeking back in those days. Yeah. But I'm not a, like so to speak, I'm not a giant fan of doing things that can actually kill you for no real good reason other than for the thrill, then I guess that's why you do it. Because doesn't make sense to do for any other reason. I don't know, man. You tell me. Any of you guys out there do any skydiving? Any of you guys do any, what do they call that? Jumping off a bridge and hanging from a flexible rubber band? Well, I don't remember what the hell that's called. Anyway, we didn't have that when I was growing up. Bungee jumping, yeah, that's it. Bungee jumping. Any bungee jumpers out there? What's it like? What's it look like to that adrenaline where it says, this cord could snap just as I'm almost at the bottom. How does that feel? When you could die at that very moment. Is it really that thrilling? And again, I was a high diver at one point. I did some high diving. I never really went real high, but I was probably like 50 feet. It's not real high. Not compared to some of these guys today I watch on YouTube doing 85, 90, 100 feet in the air. Oh man. You know, the highest dive when I was young was from a friend of mine who actually worked at the Aqua Circus in Wildwood, New Jersey back in the 70s, and he was only 15 years old. But in 1983, he did a dive on Wide World of Sports. I'll never forget it. I was working at Henny's in Stone Harbor, and I'm looking up at the TV, and there's my friend Dana. His name's Dana Kunze, and he did the highest dive at that point. It was 173 feet in the air. Whew. Man, just the thought of being that high up and making that kind of dive. And if you look that up on YouTube, Dana Kunze, and it's spelled with a K, K-U-N-Z, I or Y. It might be I. Just try I, or it might be I-E. Just check all three. Y, I-E, or just I. Kunze, K-U-N-Z-I-E, or I, Kunze. Dana. Dana's easy, D-A-N-A. So, Dana Kunze, 1983, 173-foot dive. Watch that dive. Not only did he break the world record at that point, his dive was perfect. I mean, it was a perfect landing. That guy, Dana, when he was young, we had the 3-meter boards, or I think 3 meters, I don't know. They were like 15 feet off the water. He used to, on the two boards, they were about maybe 10 feet, maybe 15 feet apart from each other too. Might have been 15 feet apart. But he used to jump up and down on the one board, all right, get really high, boom, boom, flip and a half twist, and then land on the other board. He used to jump up and down on the board, get really high, flip and a half twist. It's called a gainer. Flip and a half twist, and then land on the other board. To this day, I still don't know how he did that. Now he used to work on trampolines. 99.9% of his time was spent on a trampoline, practicing. And that's how he got so accurate with his marks when he would land on something. But I've never seen anybody do it, and I've never seen anybody do it since. He was the only diver that I ever saw do that. He was only 15 years old when he used to do that trick. And it was called the Aqua Circus. For those that are local, that follow me, it was a water, you guys know what I'm talking about. It was over in North Wildwood on 24th and the boardwalk, and it was called the Aqua Circus. Sportland Pool, the Aqua Circus. And Sportland Pier was out in front of it. But boy, was that a fun That was a fun show. My father actually beat the bear. I think he did. I'm trying. It's been such a long. I think he did. He actually beat the bear. But the bear, there used to be a bear that people were able to wrestle. No, yeah, wrestle, and it was on the back platform in the 3 foot section of the pool. There was a platform out there, and the bear would be out there, and he's all muzzled. He didn't have any claws, but he was a grizzly. He was a big bear, 800 pounds. And my dad, by chance, was, the bear was actually, on my dad. My dad was a big dude. He was really big, and he got to the edge of the pool, and the bear slipped with his foot, and splish, he went right into the water. And my dad won because of that. But normally nobody beats that bear. So it wasn't because of what my dad did. It was because the bear just got a little too close to the edge. Nobody beats an 800-pound bear. Sorry, that doesn't happen. We're not that strong. Especially 800 pounds of muscle, wrestling back with you. So that was cool. We used to have the high divers that used to stay in our apartment over top of our house, and it was unique. That's how I got friendly with the divers, and they taught me how to dive, and they taught me how to, they taught me how to practice. Wasn't allowed to use their trampoline, so I had to. I forget which place I went to. There was a place that had a professional trampoline, and you had to sign a waiver to be able to use it even back then. But yeah, I got pretty good at it. I had Dana show me some things when I was a kid. He probably would never even remember me at this point in my life. We're talking a long time ago. Let me see, I was 13, he was 15. So he's older than I am now, and I doubt he's diving anymore. I know he has the show. He owns a show. I don't think he dives anymore. God bless him if he can. If you're 62 years old and you can still dive, that's a pretty amazing feat in itself. I can't imagine doing some of the stuff that we did back then on those trampolines. I'd snap in half, especially with my back the way it is now. That's the one regret I do have. I should have never played semi-pro football. I wish I'd have never done that. I only did it for a short time, but just long enough to destroy my body. So, there's that. I'd have been better off just coaching. I think I would have been more satisfied too, because I liked coaching. I did like coaching. Knew the game inside and out. But I think the one thing I had to say, I don't think I ever regretted doing diving. Diving was fun. I was getting better and got in trouble. I was a pool boy at the Sportland pool. And the pool opened up to the public during the day from like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning until 5 p.m. And then from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., the divers would come in and practice. They would practice, or they'd work out on the trampoline that was in the intersection of where the building was. So they would, one or two, they were either on the boards practicing while I was cleaning the pool, and that's how I got to know the divers. And plus, they stayed in our apartments, so I had that. He was the main guy, the guy that did the high dive. Dana didn't do the high dive at that point. He was still too young. He was underage, so they wouldn't let him go up 100 feet on that ladder. It was a 100-foot dive, and he was still too young. I remember talking to him about that. He says he wasn't allowed to do it, not until he turned of age. But boy, when he took that, when he started, he ran away with it, man, because he had the world's highest dive at one point in 1983. But yeah, getting back to it. Yeah, so they would come in at 5 p.m. and they'd start diving and stuff. And I'll never forget the one day, the divers came in and they're like, "Oh, kids, you guys want to learn how to?" There was a couple of us in there at the pool area, and I don't know who the other guys were. I think it was a local friend of mine. I think he was there that day too. Um, I think we were talking about it. Yeah, I think it was Joe. So he was there. One of their, I remember the diver saying, "Hey, you want to? You guys want to learn how to dive?" Sure. Well, the way it was set up, you had these little boards on the outside that were only about 3 to 4 feet off the water. Then you had the 15 feet in the air board. They were both sides. They were 15 feet up in the air, and then you had a 42-foot platform above that went all the way up, and then the other ladder that went 100 feet up in the air. So you had 2 small boards, 2 15-footers, platform about 40 to 50 feet up in the air, and then the ladder went all the way up to 100 feet. Yeah, I think it was 42 feet. I think it was 40 feet, 40 or 42 feet was the platform. Well, the divers started letting us dive off the platform, and we weren't diving. You either just jumped, or you did a little flip, because at that height, you cannot do an uncontrolled dive. And what I mean by controlled is you can't jump straight off and be guaranteed that you're going to land feet in. You know, you're liable to go backwards, because you're gonna move in that air can make you move a little bit in the air. So they used to do what they saw a controlled dive was actually you have to do one flip or something to control your dive. So I used to just do a forward flip.
Yo, Johnny.
You.
What's going on, man?
Finally finishing up my neck area.
You shaving up your neck area.
I'm doing the YouTuber. So I'm smoothing this out. I'm going to actually, where's my brush?
Looking good, man.
Got to keep pushing. Got to keep getting. I want to get this thing done. As soon as this weather breaks, I'll be molding this sucker. All right, little naphtha on the project here, and see what I can smooth out. See what smooths out and see what doesn't. And what I find, see, once you smooth this out, some of the lines will disappear and some won't. So I have to see which ones don't and then get them smooth.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, this is just smooth, and any kind of naphtha, once it evaporates, and after I get done brushing the heck out of this, I'll be able to tell whether I smoothed it out enough, or there's still some more smoothing to do, lumps. Just got to get those lines out, the carve, you know, where I use that tool. Got to get those lines out of there. So what are you working on? Did you stream tonight?
Yeah, just got them. So when the stand-in girl, she just backed out.
Who?
From the film. She was a stand-in. She backed out. No, I can't do it anymore. Scott's freaking out.
Well, who did she stand? I mean, she was just a stand-in?
Yeah, because the role was already cast for somebody else. And
Well, Scott better learn how to delegate that better, because he's gonna end up putting himself in the hospital again.
like, I just want to cancel the picture. I'm like, all right, dude.
Too much drama. What, he wants to cancel the picture because somebody backed out? Call your girl up. What's her name? Oh, wait a minute. Is she supposedly a lead? What's her, if she's only a stand-in, what the hell does that mean? Is that just a,
What'd you say, Joe?
is it just a stand, when you say stand-in, is she just a, she's used in emergency only?
Yeah, it's not a.
It's not a real role.
No.
Well, then that's probably why she said, no, I don't. But, you know, you could use her for other things, you know, later on. So people gotta, you know. So we're talking about a movie that's being made from a friend of mine. So it's you gotta give us. Gotta stop being. I don't know. We're talking about too much on YouTube.
Uh-huh. I was just thinking that.
Neither. Let's not and say we did. Sorry guys, I can't fill you in on this stuff. This is more personal. So, but it's cool. My buddy's actually a movie producer, makes his own movies. He writes, and not YouTube either. We're talking real film here. So it's the guy's voice you just heard in the background. His name's Angelo, and he does a lot of makeup and special effects for the movie, and he's working with the guy right now. And me, I'm going to be doing probably some masks, maybe for his movies and stuff. I don't know, depending on what kind of props. I'll do all kinds of different things. Now you can see. You see how like the lines in there? Look how real that looks by putting those little etched lines and then smoothing them out in the lips. Can you see that on the film? On the video? I hope you can. Yeah, this is starting to look, the neck area looks pretty good. I really got it looking good. Just trying to really smooth it now. I'm just trying to get it smooth. That's cool. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about the movie. I'm not going to talk about the personal stuff on the movie. The guy's been a close friend of mine. He's doing a great job. I think he needs to get it done. This one he's working on. You always run into little problems with movies because you're, you know, actors. You know, it's trying to get everybody together. That's the thing. That's the hardest part, I think, is making sure everybody can be someplace all at the same time. Movies are shot so differently than you really think. They're not done like, you know, in sequence, so to speak. You know, you're doing one scene, and you only use the people that you actually need for that scene to be there for that particular night. So. Just makes it hard. It's hard to do when you're starting out. This is probably his third or fourth film. I don't know. I get confused with some of that stuff. I really don't. I'm not into movie making. I'm just not into that. I don't mind doing the props. I don't mind doing stuff like that because that's what I really like. I like the art. I like the art part. I don't want to shoot film. I don't want to get into movie making. We were talking about doing a video for YouTube using my mask. That would be pretty cool and fun. I would love to do that. You know, I got to make that more wet because that's not really smoothing out. That nose looks yuck. So, Scott, I'm sorry that I said anything about the movie, anything personal on there, in case you see this video.
Yeah.
What's up?
You're on live.
I'm live right now, yeah. Say hello. You already did.
Oh. Okay, I'll come back.
No. What do you want?
No, it's okay.
I want to see Mom's car. Is it done? You there? Guess she walked out. All right. All right, so I accomplished what I wanted to do tonight. I accomplished what I set out to do tonight. That's the main thing. So yeah, but I'm thrilled for I'm happy for my friend because he's really got he's doing well with his movies, and he's got a good plan in going forward with it, and it's not an easy business. Nothing's easy. Nothing's ever easy. You know, everything's hard. Everything we do is not an easy task. Okay, so let me make sure that I didn't damage the back of the head by the way that I repositioned everything. At the neck area. Yeah, this line's a little bit too harsh here, right underneath his chin. I got some smoothing to do in here, on the top of the head, the back of the head still got to be done. And then once I get the smoothness and where I want the complete shape of what I want, then from there, my plan is simple. I want to texture it. Once I texture it, then we're on to bigger and better things. Still too high. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is a interesting. Can I back that up again? Now I really softened this clay up on the surface, so this is smoothing out. That's another thing. If it's a tough area where you can't really get into it too well, and you want to try and get them lines out, just really make the surface. You just keep applying the naphtha, and it'll really give you it'll smooth it out for you by really making sure that it's soft. And this side doesn't have to look exactly like that side, so I'm not trying to maybe it sticks out a little further on this side. That's fine. We're not trying to make everything exact. You know, you don't want to replicate the exact same thing on one side compared to the other. That's what gives us the human factor. That's why we don't look alike. None of us look alike because of the ton of imperfections that we have in our face. I'm going to have to make a new hairline in here, though. That's for sure. Yepper. And I also want to do some work on this side, right here, right where this comes in. I need to look at some more pictures on different masks and different, pictures of the actual original mask, if I can get a clean enough look in this area where this scowl kind of goes up into the corner. It's weird, it goes up and then goes up higher in here, but it also checks back down. I think there's a little bit of a check down on this side, and that shows up with the Halloween 1982, the dirt that's on this. There's a scuff that goes up and down on the actual Halloween 2 mask. 1981 Halloween 2 mask, the original Halloween 2. And I want to make sure that's in this sculpture as well. So I'm still critiquing it just, ever so slightly. Yeah, I'm happy with what I accomplished today. I did a lot of nice things to this thing that really brought it together. Yeah. What do you think, guys? The neckline looks a lot nicer, cleaner. Still got some work to do over here. Got some smoothing to do right over in here. This is done from here to here, is all finished underneath this neckline. That looks good. Clean. The shape's there. The underneath part's nice now. The chin's rounded better. Looks good. Yeah. We are getting close, guys. Getting very close to the finish line with this sculpture. I still got some work to do on the back of the head and some on the top of the head, to get it smooth. And then I got to put the hairline in. I want that embedded in my sculpture because when you hair it, you don't want to have to second guess your line all the time. So if it's there already, you want to make sure your hairline comes out just a little bit past that hairline. Wherever I put that little line on the top of the head, my hair is going to come out just a little bit past it, maybe an eighth of an inch past the hairline, to hide the hairline. You don't want to show that hairline. That'll be in the rubber. You'll see that little hairline. If you look at some of the masks, you'll see that people carve in their hairline right into the mask itself. But we're pretty this is pretty done. Yeah, I did go higher on that. That's good, man. That lip line is really nice. The lips look good. The nose looks really good now. That looks a lot better than what it did. The underneath part, it's all smoothed out. I could see it better when it was up on its end, like that. I'm going to do the same thing to the back of the head to make sure everything's smooth and where it needs to be. Oh yeah, guys. I want to thank everybody for watching. I know I couldn't really reply to you because I don't have I'm looking at a picture on my computer. I can't monitor our conversation because my camera is my phone. So there's no way to actually comment back. I have to put another monitor in here. Jesus, how can I do that? I'm just looking at my area. I just don't have enough work area to do it. I might have to use this I might have to use this. I got an idea. I can turn this big TV on and use that for my monitor, right? And I'll put some kind of mirror over here facing the monitor so I can see what's being written. At least I can see it pop up, and when I see it pop up, I'll look over and read the comment. Because it's over here on my left. It's over here on my left, my monitor. It's a big TV on the wall. And I can use that TV for doing YouTube. That would be cool. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And I'll stick some kind of mirror over here if I see a comment pop up in the mirror on the TV, reflecting the TV. Then I can just look over and read the comment. So I like trying to keep everything in front of me though, but it's tough because just limited workspace. I'm in my studio. This area that I'm working in, the reason why it's so cluttered and so, it's a combination of music studio and sculpting. Thank God I don't use any wet clay or soiled clay. This is actually a wax-based clay. It's clean. Doesn't really cause a lot of dirt, grime. You don't get none of that here with that. Boy, I hope that face is. I think I'm gonna leave that. Leave that sponge back there. Oh, but it was in frame. I don't know if it was in frame, but there it is. It's in frame now. So, what do you guys think? Am I getting close? You guys like what you're seeing? Let me take the phone off the camera stand, and I'll do a once around. Now it does. When I take the phone off and I get close to the mask, it distorts the mask because the camera it draws in. It'll elongate and bring the face forward on you. It looks like the shape's all wrong, but it's an illusion. That's all. It's just from the camera. So okay, now, especially the lips. You see how those little lines that are on lips that are right in there? That's all going to come out into the sculpture. Yeah, now you can see what I did here. Let me turn this a little bit. Oh, and I can show you the picture that you see this eye here? Thanks, man. Yeah, now I can see you guys, your comments. Oh, thanks. Anything that you've said, I'll look back at it, and I'll comment on it. But what I really started out to do is I wanted to fix this little. See, that's the actual screen 1978 mask. I'm sure anybody out there that collects Michael Myers is very familiar with this picture. But what I wanted to do is create this little cliff that's inside the corner of the eye, right here. And here's what I did. See? Looks exactly the same. Yeah, so that's... Now this looks... Yeah, now this isn't just the H1. This actually has a mix of all the mask, all the little details from every mask. Even the screenshot, the poster art that's on Halloween 4 and 5, that's how I did the eyebrows in Halloween 4 and 5. You see these little bulges that are right here on both sides? Yes, that's the picture with Castle, the one that was on my computer screen. These bulges out here on each side are from the actual flashback. They're more bulged out over here on the flashback mask. So I took a little bit from every mask that was ever I thought was the most coolest look. And this is my own rendition of what I think the perfect Michael Myers mask should look like. I used the Captain Kirk lips more so than I did now see, as I go if I back up to about 5 or 6 feet, the shape doesn't get distorted. But as soon as I start bringing it in, look how the face gets pulled into the camera, and it narrows the face. It's an illusion. It's not. It's what this mask really looks like is at this distance. So do I. I can't wait to get this finished. There's so much I've done differently. You see my sculptures up here? All right. They're the masters. They're the latex masters. And then over there, the urethane masters are from the actual mold. But these are the latex masters, and they're foam filled. And if I need to make a smaller version, all I have to do is make molds over top of these. And that'll make a real small head like this, where I was just goofing with the inks to see if it would work, and it does work great. I just spraying the ink on there. But that's a small mask, and this is not the same sculpture. So my point is, the eye cuts, the secret is I didn't have the eye cuts cut back far enough into underneath of the scale area. And that's what this is. This right here, the reason why this looks so shadowy inside of here is because this predominantly sticks out past the eye cuts, the bottom part. And I was always wrong about that. And that's partially, you know, it's just part of the illusion that this mask actually creates. There's so much to this sculpture that I wasn't aware of. So, I mean, what do you think? Do you think this is really something that collectors will really love? The sculpture, you know, I can't wait to get this finished. I really can't. I can't wait to really see what happens when it comes to, because I'm going to put it on eBay right away, the first mask, and see what happens. The herring, the paintwork, and all that stuff. I have a technique of what I want to do, and I want to use a natural, I'm going to probably use real human hair for my masks. That would be cool. I think it was an element that's added to the Halloween Kills mask that they didn't do on the other mask because they used real human hair, or it's something like it. The area that I have in question, though, is the burn area, because it looks like it's all clumped up. It's either glue or they actually melded synthetic hair, because natural fiber hair doesn't melt. It actually turns to ash, and so does human hair. Real human hair turns to ash. So I would love to find out what was actually used on that Kills mask. It's either yeah, that's what I tried to do. I tried to make several versions. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out your abbreviation. Can you kind of just text me a name that I can use that's easier to identify what you just popped up here. What is your name? It's hard to actually say it. So I love to respond to the people individually. You know, I don't have to have your real name, but tell me to call you something. Call you Bob, whatever, you know. But your tag name is a little difficult to. It's not about it's. I see the abbreviation of it. I guess I don't know. Anyway, let me get back to what I'm talking about here. This is a multiple version. This is an exact copy of any individual mask. This is like, my own version of, and it's called the Night Creeper, and my business is called Custom Corpses. And I don't have anything in production yet. I have this. They're ready for molding and latex. Let me see. What do we do? Kessler Crusher. Great. Okay, Crusher. That's better. You should actually probably put that up there unless somebody has that name already. Spell it with a K. Oh, come on, go away. I have a things popping up on my screen. Crusher. Way to go, Crusher. I like that. So anyway, like I said, I mean, what do you think? Would you want this sitting on your shelf when it's all said and done? And it also depends on how good the artwork is and the paint job. I'm actually looking to use some of the techniques a friend of mine that's on here uses, and I think I'm going to do the same thing on my masks. I love the way the scowl comes into the top of the nose. It's very natural looking right in here. This is very natural. It's not carved in like, the lines where they usually put the little lines. This looks more like a real face. You have a boogeyman, Crusher? You have a boogeyman's mask from You know, keep following me. Keep in touch with me. I'll let you know. I think I'm not going to beat people up. I'm going to try the eBay thing just to see how the collectors react to this. I'm going to test market this. You know, once the dust settles a little bit, you know, I'll have a more realistic pricing on it. But I can't state prices. I can't talk about prices. That's all through private messaging. But we're not at the finish line yet. It has to be molded. It has to be casted. It has to be painted. It has to be haired. And those things I'm still learning how to do. You got to remember, and this is so funny. You're not, if you've been following me, you probably know this already. But if you're not following me, you're new to me, or you haven't really watched a lot of my videos, Crusher. I've only been doing this for about a year and a half. I've never done Michael Myers before in my life. I've never done any sculpting. Now, on the other side of that coin, I used to do what they call relief carving in wood. And I did that for maybe 4 or 5 years. And relief carving. I did a little bit of whittling too with wood. But I used to do what they call 5-tier relief carvings. And that means putting in sceneries into wood in multiple depths. And what each depth that you use is a layer of depth. And that's called a tier. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. But I used to go up as high as 5, 6, 7 tiers. And, you know, depending on also how thick the wood was and how thick your tiers were. Yeah, it's now what I do to mine, and this is how I'm going to approach this. First thing I do when let's just pretend this is latex. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a flesh tone all over the mask. I'm going to flesh tone this whole thing. All right. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, now if it's the Halloween 78, I'm going to use this white that's mixed with blue. That creates the awkward, it almost looks gray, but it's not gray. It look like you can see the color here. That isn't done with black paint to make that off white. It's done with blue paint. All right, and it's what's the name of the blue paint? Cobalt blue. Cobalt blue is what I add to my white, but just very little to change the shading of this, and then that is called fish belly white. All right, and that's what gives you that ghostly look of the original mask, because the original mask was done in a paint called fish belly. It wasn't just plain white. It was a fish belly white paint. And that's on one of the old interviews from the guys. And they, for some reason, even their updated videos, they never say it. But on the old videos, I got some old videos from of them talking about how they painted the mask. And the mask they painted that mask with a fish belly white paint. And it gave it this awkward, glowish, ghoulish look. The flesh tones, I kind of just make it up. I use like a brown, and I'll throw a splash of red in it, just to give it a little bit of, like, you know. And I'll, like, if you just take a plain brown paint, right? You wanna add red to it, bring a reddish to it, and then you're gonna add white to it to lighten it until you get it right. So the red, brown, and white paint mixed together until you get it to the right tone. Of what you like. And you also have to remember this. When you use those colors, all right, make sure that you spray something and let it dry to see what that tone looks like before you put it on your mask. Get the tone right. No, I did. I said Tommy Lee Wallace, back in the day, in one of the interviews. I'm going to find that interview, and I'm going to put that on one of my, I think it was the 25-year look it was 25 years of Halloween or something. And I'm going to put that, I'm going to actually YouTube it, and I'll show you what he said. I think it was Tommy Lee Wallace that actually said in that original interview that it was, oh yeah, I bought it it was a fish belly white paint that we bought. It used to be in a spray can. And I'm almost sure that that's where I got that information. But I do know that it was fish belly white, because every time I tried to make it look more grayish and took all that reflective, that pure white look, it just, the white doesn't look right in real time. I don't know. The fish belly white looks so cool. The color looks so, it just, it's very ghoulish looking. It's a very ghoulish looking color. It's not, I don't even know if the camera actually can pick up the difference. It's just a slight, let me see something. You can see the streaks coming down off that bottle. But you see that color that's on there? I don't know if the camera picks up on that. I'm talking about the two streaks that are right here coming down the bottle. See that color? It's got a little bit of a blue tint to it, but it also makes, it also looks like it could be gray. A little bit of a grayness to it. Tacky glue is good for the hairline. I like using liquid latex. I like using mask latex, not liquid latex. You can't buy the stuff that you get at Spirit of Halloween. You have to buy real mask latex to hair a mask. There's a huge difference. Mask latex is much thicker. It'll bead up nice for you. It's more translucent when it dries, and it really grabs that mask really well. It's really hard to dehair a mask that's been done with liquid. So I'd even go as far as just using latex even on the hairline, because it gives you a more natural look. Now, what I plan on doing with the real human hair on the hairline, when I sculpt it in here, I'm going to sculpt this hairline in really accurate to the original film. And what I want to do is I'm going to punch my hair. I'm going to punch it in the latex on the end, right on the edge. So that gives you a really perfect hairline. That's my plan with my masks. Yeah, make sure it's mask latex. Yeah, you don't want to go to Spirit of Halloween and buy that, because that's thin stuff. It's good for, making little. They call them narnies. I don't know if you know what that means. Is if you paint on a flat acrylic surface or anything that'll peel off real easy, you paint a nice puddle of it, let it dry, and then take your finger, create a little hole, and then just rub it around, and then it'll create these little circles. And I used to make those and then put them over top of my mask to make it look like flesh was opening up. You had these natural looking holes, all different sizes, and it created like a webby look. And you can create some really cool illusions with what they call narnies. At least I heard some artists call it a narnie, and it stuck, so I still call it a narnie. Narnies. It's good for that kind of stuff. It's a very thin latex, so mask latex. That's what you want to get. You don't have to buy 5 gallons at a time. You can buy as much as you want, but I can tell you 5 gallons of good mask latex is about, I forget what I have Instagram. I don't really use it because I don't know. I don't like the format of it. I don't know. I'm just not used to it. I'm just an old guy doing Facebook's hard enough to keep up with. I don't know all the. I wish I had the technology savvy to do all that stuff. I'm so busy with just doing my masks, and I do my music. I have to worry about my job. Yeah, I wouldn't use, like I said, you got to get mask latex. Just buy like I think you can buy it like in quarts, half gallons, you know. It's a little more expensive, that's for sure. I think it was like $180 for 5 gallons. It depends on the thickness. If you want a really thick casted mask, um, you can probably get about 20 masks out of 5 gallons. Uh, Good quality. If you're using now, there's two different ways of doing this. If you're using plaster, Ultra Cal 30, um, or any plaster for that matter, if you're doing what they call dwell casting, which you imagine this guy upside down, where the neck is facing up. Oh yeah, you want mask latex, that's for sure. Um, Now, if this guy's upside down, you pour a bunch of latex and fill the whole thing up. All right, right up to the top of the neck, and you let that dwell in there for about 2 hours. Then you dump the remainder out, and then whatever's stuck to the walls on the inside is going to be the thickness of your mask. Now that's done with plaster. Uh, I plan on making a master copy out of an epoxy. Excuse me, out of an epoxy. But with epoxy, it doesn't absorb moisture like plaster does. Plaster absorbs the moisture out of the latex, and that's what gives you the thickness of the mask. You know, the longer it sits in there, the thicker the mask is. So when it's sitting in the mold, your plaster will dry from the walls inward, or not plaster. The latex will dry from the walls inward. So the outer wall gets dry first. You know, the surface of the where the latex meets the surface of the stone is going to dry almost instantly, and then the longer it sits in there, the thicker and thicker that mask gets. The maximum thickness is probably about an eighth inch, a little bit bigger than an eighth inch in thickness, because once it gets to that thickness, it no longer absorbs. It can't get through, the water can't get through the layer of rubber because of the thickness of it. Now, on the other side of that coin, if you're doing slush casting, which you do with a you can do the same thing with plaster. You can slush cast it where you take some latex, put it inside your mold, and then slush it around on the walls. All right. I got 4 people on with me right now listening to me. Wow, cool guys. So get back to it. Slush casting. You can make the mask as thick as you want. Now remember, a thin casted mask doesn't shrink as much. The thicker the mask is, the more the mask will shrink up on you. You get an average like this size right here. Once I put a mold on that, well, a thick pull, a very thick, the maximum thickness, I usually leave it in there for about 3.5 to 4 hours. And that gives you maximum thickness. The average 2 hours is enough. And it also depends on your situation. Like if depends on your climate. If it's high humidity, the it's high humidity, the heat, if it's hot, not just so much humidity. Humidity can change the absorption of your plaster mold. Can change how well it absorbs, because water and plaster is not a good mix when you're trying to absorb moisture from your plaster or from your latex. So it just depends on the. But I can tell you right now, the average cast, is about 2 hours when you're dwell casting. 2 hours sitting in the, and then that's a pretty good thickness on your mask. I wouldn't go too thick because the thicker it is, I've learned my lesson with this. If the mask is too thick, what happens is it shrinks way too much from your original size. If you have and the thing is, it continues to shrink for quite a few months. Doesn't shrink in just a couple of weeks, and it'll continue to shrink. Especially the thicker your mask is, it'll get strong. It'll get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I try not to make it too thick, not too thin, and durable. Especially mask latex is really tough stuff. It does last well. It holds up well. Well, when you're slush casting in a plastic mold, you're just slushing it around and just kind of you're doing thin layers at a time because a plastic mold, resin mold, doesn't absorb moisture. So you're just slushing it around and you're just, yes, add glue marks, neck hole. Yeah, that's all going to be in the. I don't know. There's two different ways to do this. If I can, all right, let me turn this on its side. Hang on a second. Yeah, I don't have it. It's not on that side. See, on the old sculpture, here we go. On the old sculpture, I have the glue. I have the glue lines in the mask. I did carve it away, most of it over on, as it gets into here. This sculpture has been retooled quite a few times, and hole. Yeah, I don't have the hole in there yet. I'm going to put that in there. You got to remember in Halloween 1, are you going to make a mask that was before he got stabbed in the neck? Or are you going to make a mask after he got stabbed in the neck? It's just depending on your point of view on it. I like the hole. I want the hole in the neck. And the way I do a hole, I put the hole in here about right there is where the hole is. All right? And when I do a puncture hole, I don't do just a round hole. All right? I do a hole, and then what I do is I'll put like little cracks on the edges of that hole to give it a really cool look. It gives it an authentic, looks like a puncture. It doesn't look like I'm sorry, I keep turning the sculpture, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look like just a round hole in the side of the mask. You want it to look like it's been punctured, more authentic looking. But yeah, this is a really nice sculpture. I'm really happy with this. Is it perfect? No, and I've seen guys do better masks. Hey, look, you know what? That's like me. Somebody busted my chops on saying there, or there. You know what I mean? There's three different there's on how I spell it. And sometimes I just laziness and I'll just spell it out of THERE, and I don't care which one I'm using correctly or which one I'm not. So I don't care. It's out of laziness and confusion. Sometimes I'm not the best speller in the world either, but I don't try to be. It's tough when you're criticizing somebody though for not being intelligent, and then everybody says, "Well, you can't spell. How intelligent really are you?" Well, spelling can be it's like some people can do math and some people can't. It's just a weakness. Yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, it's just a weakness. I'm not the best mathematician. I'm not the best speller, but there's things that I can do that nobody else can do. I've got that gift. It's funny. I find that most people that are really book smart and very, very, great as far as, you know, you know, they're real good at math, they're real good at spelling, they're real good at all those, things. They're lousy at art. Most of them, not all. I wouldn't say everybody, but most people that are very, very book smart are they're not very artistic at all. I think we depend on art a lot more. People that aren't as smart, we depend on our eye and our ears and our, as a musician, as a disc jockey, I've got what they call perfect pitch hearing. Not as good as it used to be. Yeah, you know what, London. Yeah, you're same here. I'm actually. I mean, I was better when I was young. I was really good at drawing when I was young because I used to love to draw. And then somewhere along the line, I just started. I don't know. It wasn't gratifying enough. Drawing to me and painting just wasn't gratifying enough because one, it's hard to sell a painting until you're dead, and you have to be good too. You can't just you can't be average. There's a lot of people out there that can draw. A lot of people out there that can paint. You know, there's very fine lines on how good somebody is or how you know they're not. So, uh, but not everybody can sculpt. Not everybody can turn that picture into a piece of art like this. And to me, there's more satisfaction in this because your hands are on it, you're shaping it, you're making your art come to life. To me, that's to me, it's more of a challenge. It's more fun. Drawing, I think I just lost interest. I used to do a lot of pencil sketching. I used to do a lot of chalk. I used to do some chalk sketches. Um, there was a time period in my life, and it was a long time ago. I'm talking 1982. I was only 20 years old, that I really had a passion for drawing and painting. And I lost it. I just lost it during that short time period of maybe a couple of years. Yeah, well, oil painting, I don't like oil painting because one, uh, the different techniques that, I mean, I'll tell you, Bob Ross, he blew my mind. He used to blow my mind. And you don't really understand oil painting until you do oil painting. All right. The wet on wet technique is a cool technique. Um, but I hate oil paintings for other reasons. I think I can't stand their dry time. It takes 2 weeks for an oil painting to dry, maybe even longer, and, I think the one thing I was good at was light, is making the light really come alive in the oil paint. And that's the hardest thing to do, is make your pictures look like they're really dancing off the screen or off the canvas. And it's all tricks. The trick is all about. It's not just colors. It's shadowing. It's the shadowing and yep. Liquid white is hard to find. Yeah, it is hard. A lot of that product's hard to find now. Especially right now with the COVID and stuff isn't being shipped. Cost a fortune to. You know what? Oil paints aren't cheap. You know, acrylics are. You got to be really good artist to work with acrylics to really get the same look as you do with oil paints. It's tough to do, especially with the texturing. You don't get the texture with acrylics as you do with oil. Um, yeah, I'm not a real fan of oil paint. I'm not a fan of drawing or painting or any of that stuff anymore. I'll stick to doing sculptures. I really this is my retirement plan right here. I'm a couple years away from retiring, and this is what I want to do. Am I going to get rich off of it? No, I'm not trying to do that. This is copyrighted, protected material. I'm not trying to. So there's going to be a handful of people that get this mask. There's not going to be a lot of people. You'll be lucky if you can buy one. um, bid on it on Facebook. I'm going to put it on eBay. The first mask I make is going to be on eBay. I think I'm going to put that on eBay. I have a couple of friends that have helped me out through the years with some things that have done a lot for me that I plan on giving that mask to them. I always do that for people that do things for me. I give them, I'll give them a mask. Right now, I got to get a guy said he's gonna work on editing some of my videos. Well, you edit my videos, and that's time consuming because I don't have time for that. You edit my videos, and you're good at it, Crusher. You don't want to be just like me, trust me. Man, I'm carrying a ton of weight. Look at this fat gut. You know, I'm a big dude, man. I'm just keep yourself in health. If you're a young guy, man, stay healthy. Don't do anything to bang up your body too much because that's why I've gained all this weight because I can't exercise anymore. There's so many things wrong with me at this point in my life, health wise. So exercise is off the. I'm literally I'm not allowed to exercise by my doctor's orders. So then I got to eat lettuce for the rest of my life to lose weight, and that doesn't even work. So I don't even know what to do. I'm going back to the nutritionist now to find out some things that are not working for me that she wanted me to do. So that's my battle. But like I said, you don't want to be. Nobody wants to be just like. Be you. That's who you got to be. Be you, but make sure you keep your health. Yeah, I've retooled so much. I kept learning different things though over the process of doing these sculptures. Because you remember, I've only doing this for a year and a half. I've never sculpted in clay in my entire life. The only thing I've ever done was work with wood when I did relief carving. And that's just a different way of doing things altogether. And the one thing about the wood is it makes you a very, 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 it makes you a perfectionist. It really does because you can't make a mistake with wood. You make a mistake with wood, you ruin the piece. And you can work on something for 6 months, 8 months, a year, and come down to the finish line and then chip something off, and then you're screwed. Something if it's in the wrong place or something, the whole thing's ruined. Now the other side of that coin, I think that's helped me a lot in jumping right into sculpting. I have done some whittling with ducks and eagles and stuff like that years and years ago. So I have that knowledge. I'm getting to the point now, though, with sculpting and using the tools where I'm doing things redundantly. I'm repeating the same things. I'm not learning new techniques. So I'm actually thinking about going and taking an online course on techniques for sculpting, just to give me a little bit more knowledge, and the school is an amazing school. I don't want to say it too out loud because maybe it doesn't matter. Uh, Stan Winston, Stan Winston School. That's what I want to do. I'm going to try. I'm going to sign up for it, and it's expensive. It's not too bad, but it can be a little pricey, and learn the techniques, learn the different techniques, and of course I'll share that information on here as I learn. I'll share it with you guys. Maybe they don't want to hear that, but hey, I'm paying for the school, so I can't see where I can't share my knowledge as I learn. And the other thing too is with sculpting, it's all about comfort. Comfort. If you're not comfortable with positioning, how you see things, like I'm a right-handed person. The right side is always easier to work with. The right side is always, yes, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Share the knowledge. So the right side's always the difficult spot to work for, or the right side's easier for me to work on because I'm right-handed. That's the old sculptor. That's the old sculpture, the profile. I want to change that to this once I have this casted. I got to fix that. Because I want the old mask off of there. That was one of my first sculptures. That was before I retooled it. it's okay. It's the eye cuts are too big. There's all kinds of things that are wrong with that sculpture on that profile picture. But that's the evolution of what I've been learning. I've been learning how to, and through the help of you guys, these guys have pointed out things that I didn't see. And I don't know if some of them were artists that are actually working on a Myers mask themselves, but they helped me along. They said, hey, your eye cuts are way too big. This is wrong. That's wrong. And I love constructive criticism, especially. I'm no expert in this. I'm still learning as I go. And some of the techniques I'm learning on my own. Some I see from other people. Nick Malpagano, I see a lot of his videos and what he does. And we're all learning from each other. Especially starting this late in age with making masks. I want to keep doing this. You know, I'm going to do this for retirement. I mean, you retire, you can keep right on going. You keep busy. You know what I mean? Sitting on a couch watching a TV, man, that's an instant death, man. You're gonna die. You're gonna die if you retire to doing that. To me, that's not. You didn't work your whole life. And I started when I was 14 years old, and I have never stopped working, even to this day. I've worked even through the COVID thing. I worked. I still worked. I was fortunate, knock on wood. I was blessed, but I never stopped working. And the problem is when you don't work, I don't know. It's just doesn't feel natural to me. I don't know what I would do with myself if I retired to doing nothing. Yeah, it's all right. It has its look. It has its look, but it's not very accurate. It's not very accurate. This is actually from that old sculpt. I mean, I was goofing around with red paints trying to see. It was a red dye. You see this dye that's up on my shelf right there? Here, I'll zoom in. Oh my God, I can see all this. Okay, now I didn't know I could do this. Look at all these. Oh my God, I got to talk to all you guys. I'm going to have to look at all these. Okay, Ricky, if you're still on, love your mask question. Are you going to make H2 masks? No, I'm not. I'm going to make this into an H2 mask because that's exactly what the original 1978 was. It was only a copy. How do I do that? How did I see the text? That's not what I wanted. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know how I just did that with the phone. Oh, there it goes. Thanks. Was that Dern one? Demo one? That was so cool. Thanks, Rick. Yeah, so I'm not probably going to do it. This is going to be that. Let me see. Planning on saving money to buy a mask from you. Sounds good, man. I'll be here. Horror Asylum, the Horror Asylum. I'll be a Halloween Ghoul. This is awesome. Yeah, thank you, buddy. I hope I'm helping you guys out. That's what I want to do. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, Crusher. No, I don't do Kirk mask, Crusher. Yeah, no H2 masks. I'm going to actually make the 78. See how this has the wide look on it? It actually has that. It's just a mix of the two, 78 and the H1. Oh, now I know how to do this. Cool. Now I can see all the text. Because it was fading out. It was popping up, fading out. Now I can scroll down and see everybody's comments. But what I love about doing it this way, making this mask the way I did it, is it's my own version. of the Halloween masks. Okay, let me see. D's balls. Okay, D's balls. These balls, okay, no, we talked about the tacky glue. Um, tacky glue, I don't know. Tacky glue was used on the original mask, I think. Wasn't tacky glue, it was something like it. Um, contact cement is also something that people use for hairing, but I find that really, really difficult to use because you have to, with contact cement, for that to work, you have to paint both surfaces. It has to be on the hair and the mask, and you have to let it dry, especially on the mask, for at least a half hour before you can before you can tack it on. So I don't recommend using contact cement on masks. Um, Latex is the best. I think latex itself is the best way to hair a mask. Mask latex. Remember that. Mask latex. You cannot use the liquid latex that you buy at Spirit of Halloween, not that stuff. Okay, this guy. Let me see. London. Yeah, I agree with you, London. I'm just looking for anybody that. Yeah, I've been talking to multiple people in here because it flashes up so fast and then disappears. I don't see your names. I'm just trying to read the text real fast. So I'm trying to address that now. I've now finally figured out how to read the text on my phone. D's balls. Like the name, man. It's pretty funny. So, be awesome. Okay, let's get back to talking now. Yeah, Nick Malpagano, London is the real deal. He's a great guy. He is inspiring too. Yeah, is herring a pain in the ass? Ooh, yes, it is. Um, when you're first starting out with it, once you learn the techniques, and I'm going to do another herring tutorial, especially when I start working with real hair, human hair. I'm going to put human hair on my masks. That ought to be cool. It'll give it a very look. It'll give it the look that I'm after. Um, it just looks better, I think. So now, where was I at, Crusher, when I was talking about this mask? Yeah, you were saying how you like the other sculpt. I can show you my original. I'll show you that original sculpture. I have a, I have a, I have it in a case out in my living room. My very first finished Michael Myers sculpture. I'm going to take you out there to the case. It's all lit up. It's got the. I will. I'll do a hair tutorial. Probably. Oh God. It's going to be at least a couple of weeks, maybe a month. It might be a month before I get to it. I don't know. I just got to see where I'm at with getting. All right, so I'm not gonna. I don't want to. I'm gonna block this because I don't want my house being videoed all the way across. So I'm gonna get to where my what do you call it? I got a nice house, but I think too much information here. All right, so you're going to see my casing of my original sculpture here. And this is actually a foam-filled mask. All right, check this out, guys. That's the actual first sculpture that I did of the Night Creeper. Custom Corpses Night Creeper 78. That's the one. Now it's in a case on display. This was actually for a store. And I'm probably looking to get rid of this. I'm probably going to sell this. This has a flame light in it. Oh, it's not flickering. What's going on here? Oh, the flame light's not flickering inside the pumpkin. That has literally a flame light inside of it. And I guess I got to reset it or something, or unplug it and plug it back in. But I'll fix that later. The case I made myself. I made this case. It's all coated in blood, but the blue light's making it look crappy. Yeah, the case is cool. It's got blood all over it. It's got guts on it, on the edges especially. See the guts? The glow and the blue light that's up underneath of this is not doing it justice. Now the case has got I got a blue strip of LEDs right up underneath of here. See up there? And that's what lights flashing. It's coming down on top of the face, and it changes color. I think, yeah, it's changing color now. But that's my first sculpture, and you can see it doesn't have the details in the lip. It's just not accurate. The eyebrows aren't quite right. They're a little too thin, not enough texturing in the eyebrows. Some people would love this sculpture and they think it's awesome. Myself, I just think it was a stepping stone to lead towards where I wanted to go. The eye cuts are definitely way too big. Yeah, it's got the blue. It's got that really cool look. Let me see if I can't fix this. So I'm going to have to go around here and unplug it and then try to plug it back in and see if it'll work. The flame light's not flickering. It should be. Let me see if I can fix that. Hold on. I'm just going to block the camera for a sec. I need to turn the lights on here so I can see. My battery's getting low too, guys, so I won't be on here for much longer. So let me go check this out. Let me go unplug everything and then plug it back in to see if that'll make that flickering light come back to life. Boy, I hate to think that I can't get that to work because did I unplug the pumpkin? Hold on. There it goes. Okay, cool. Now I can fix it, guys. Okay. I just had to let it stay off for a few minutes. There you go. Now it's flickering. Now, you can't really see the pumpkin because it's glowing really bright inside the eyes, but look at it flickering on the here. You can see the pumpkin flickering with the flame light inside. Anyway, that's my case for my display of this mask when I first did it. And it was supposed to go into a store that actually has downsized since I did this sculpture. See, even the eye holes are bleeding out of this pumpkin. But here I am stuck with it in my house now. So, yeah, it is better. It's just definitely looks better when the flame is flickering. So let me go back into the studio. I don't want to go through the whole house and show every little thing in the house. A little bit of privacy issues there. All right, I'm back in my studio, into the back cave. Yeah, this was a sock mask, and I turned it into yeah, the leaves are cool. This is a scarecrow mask that I gored up. This is a sock mask, and I used foam, just regular spray foam. Foam insulation, shaped it. All right, and then I put burlap over it. and we called them barn dwellers in one of the haunts that I was doing. And this was a quick, this wasn't even a good sculpture or anything like that. This was just really quick and on the fly. I had to do this in one day, the whole thing, to get it done. And not just one, I had probably like 15 of those. This is the master copy of the Halloween Kills, my original sculpture of the Halloween Kills. Like I said, the eye cuts, well, let me turn some of the light away. These eye cuts are sticking out too far this way. This here, these need to be sunk way back, and that's what I did. Yeah, like here you go. Now you see how that scale looks? I turn the lights off on this thing. And this is just downlighting that's hitting this sculpture now. And you can see how the shadows really kick in. So now you can see the actual sculpture. Even the lip area, you can see that where the shadows really help. You know, you can see everything. The thing you can't see, and that's, I guess I just don't have the light a little bit, needs to be a little bit further over this way. Yeah, and you can't see you can't see this cheek line over here. But, you know, once this thing's painted white, you know, and it has, you know, and then all the aging of it and, you know, you weather it and everything. This is going to give you all the looks that you want. It's going to really look good. Yeah. So, any questions, guys? Give me a question. Give me something I haven't answered. Now, I overhauled. All I did was, this is a Trick or Treat Studios H18. That's from Trick or Treat Studios. I just repainted it. I still don't like the way I painted it. I still have to do it again. Now I know better weathering techniques, and I can make all the natural things that are in this mask pop. Before I didn't have the weathering techniques down. And anyway, so I'll be able to really... Now the plan is I'm going to make the 78. I'm just doing what I just did up here, right up here. Same thing, I'm repeating the process, only with this sculpture. Because, I mean, I can sell those. They're still good, but they're not good enough. You know, this is going to be the masterpiece for me. And I think I'll be done with Michael Myers once I finish this piece. And what I mean by that is I'll be done with doing another series of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm really focusing on getting this really, really where I want it to be. I am not leaving any stones unturned. So the plan is I make the 78 and the 81 from this sculpture. All right. Then I'm going to age it into the H18. I'm staying within the timeline of the new Michael Myers series. All right. I'm going to age this to look like that. Only I'm not changing it to look like this mask. It's going to be this sculpture, only aged into a 2018 version. All right. Then when that's molded, I'm going to sculpt it into the Halloween Kills. And by the time I get that done, which would probably be the Halloween Kills version, would probably be done in August, when I finally finish that Halloween Kills. Maybe by then we have screenshot pictures of the Halloween Ends mask. And if I don't like the way that mask looks, then I'm probably not going to sculpt it. Because if they destroy it too much. Now, I saw some concept art that really I'm going to do it if that's how the mask is going to look. It actually has, let me see. I loved Michael Myers in Halloween Kills. Everything about him was perfect. He was really, actually, and I'm going to say this, I'm a big fan of Nick Castle and the original Halloween, and I'm a big fan of Dick Warlock and the way he did Halloween 2 in 1981. But I gotta say, this James Courtney, um, yeah, the flashback mask was amazing. Um, Now I'm gonna say James Courtney playing Michael Myers has really, really nailed, I think, the ultimate Michael Myers. I think I think he's actually the guy that played him the best so far out of everybody. And I hate to say that about Nick Castle because, man, I would have sworn he would have been the guy for the rest of my life. But I got to say, James Courtney, but see, you got to understand now, James Courtney had Nick Castle and John Carpenter on set to give him guidance on what Michael Myers needed to look like and how he acted and how he walked and how he nailed it. Um, James Courtney, man, hats off to you. If you ever see my videos, I got to tell you, man, you're my favorite Michael Myers of everybody that ever played him. You really, really nailed it, and I know that you had the help of all the original cast of the original movie, and I know that you would be the guy, the first thing that you would be the first one to say it yourself. Um, but you would actually probably thank all the people that actually helped you along in that role. But in the bottom line is, it's just the way you played that character, and I think the Kills movie. Now let's talk about the Kills movie. The Kills movie to me was, I hated the dialogue. You know, my two favorite characters in the movie. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh. Three favorite characters. You ready? Big John, Little John. I thought they were funny as hell. I loved those guys. They were great. They really were good in that movie. And it's a shame they died. Um, and Michael Myers. Everybody else, I thought was just, it's not their fault because they're all established and good actors, especially, oh God, what's his name? The guy who played little Tommy Doyle. What the hell? I'm trying to remember the actor's name. I'm terrible with names. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. I just think the writing was weak. That's my biggest problem, and it's not so much the script as a story in itself. That didn't bother me. The story was good. It was the dialogue, the script. Yeah, they were funny, man. I thought they were funny. That was humorous. That was really, you know, Big John, Little John. But I didn't like the dialogue, the scripting, the way they wrote the script. I didn't like the dialogue script, not the script of the movie as far as the story goes. The story was great, but the dialogue, boy, it was bad. It was really bad. Yeah, the dialogue was like, wow, man. It really made it tough for an actor. See, if the actors don't have really good dialogue, you know, they don't. When an actor has a really good dialogue, a lot of dialogue in their movie, regardless of what the script is, if the script's great and the movie's great, but if the dialogue sucks, it really makes it hard for an actor to. It makes it hard for an actor really to really shine because he has bad lines, you know, and that's a shame because, you know, I started thinking in the middle of that movie, I started thinking, thank God Michael Myers doesn't have any dialogue because they would ruin him too. That's how pissed off, well, I wasn't pissed off, but that's how disappointed I was in the dialogue. Yeah, it's true. Well, I think what you have is ever since Hollywood went corporate, you don't have a lot of real talent there now. You have guys that know how to make movies, but you don't have the writers that we used to have when I was growing up. and you mentioned Star Wars. Well, I'm a Star Trek fan because Star Trek to me was like that was my time period. Uh, I'm a big Trekkie. You know what I mean? Did I like Star Wars? My brother is 6 years younger than me. So let me see, 7 years. No, he's 7 years younger than me. I'm 60. So he's like, 53, 52. And that was right when he was growing. He was a young boy, when Star Wars came out in 77, 78, whatever it was. And I hated C3PO and R2D2. They drove me nuts in the movie, in the original Star Wars. That just felt too childish to me. But that was because I was already a teenager. You know what I mean? So Star Wars didn't appeal to me as much as it did to younger kids. So that's just me, and I'm not bashing the movie. Don't get me wrong. I think it was an amazing movie as far as the way it was done, the coolness of the original, just everything about that original one. But I don't grab at that movie. It's funny. I think I watched it maybe 3 times in my entire life, maybe twice in its entirety. It's not something that I reach for. Yeah, so it's not. It's just because of how old I was when the movie came out. There was some things about the movie that I felt was kind of too childish. But then, man, did it get popular? Man, was that movie big. But I loved the visual effects. I did. But when you're a Star Trek fan, the thing about Star Trek was based on trying to be more realistic approach of what we could become in the future. And look at all the things that have come out in Star Trek that actually happened, like the flip top phones. They actually used the insignia on Motorola. Was it Motorola of the Star Trek series? They actually used that insignia when they developed their first flip tops. Now, I don't watch the new ones. I could care less about that new stuff. If I'm going to watch Star Wars, I'm going to go back to you know what? Because I'm up late tonight, I may even put it on. I put Star Wars on tonight. I have the DVDs. I have the Blu-ray copies of the Star Wars, the original movie. I haven't seen it in so many years that maybe my point of view will change if I watch it now. Uh, you know, then again, I'm more nostalgic because I love the actors. If the actors are good, they can sell a movie. They can make or break a movie. And once again, it falls on good dialogue. You know, um, oh, Harrison Ford, the guy who played Han Solo. I couldn't think of his name. Yeah, Mark Hamill. He was really good in that movie. And I'm trying to go back and try to remember. I can't remember even lines because it's been so long since I've seen the movie, so I can't really criticize it right now. But maybe I'll watch the movie tonight. And Harrison Ford, yes, I just remember him being so funny in that movie. He was so good. He really delivered. His dialogue was really cool. It was more authentic. It was very authentic. It felt real. It didn't feel, fake like the way things are today. Everything feels forced. It just doesn't feel natural. Actors, they were all good. I mean, if you watched the movie, you were sold. They took you into a world where you actually believed that it was real. No, I don't collect any of the figures. I don't collect anything like that. I just, I think what it is no, I got to say I'm wrong about that. Like I collect. I love The Walking Dead. I don't know if you guys are into that. Um, I know it's dropped off quite a bit since its original. I think ever since they killed Rick off, that was the end of it for me. I just lost interest. Um, but Yeah, I love The Walking Dead. I do have a Daryl Dixon doll. I also have the collector's pieces of the seasons. The first 3 or 4 seasons, they came out with like, collector's boxes for the DVD sets. I have those. Um, I never got into it completely where I got all the action figures and all that. I didn't do any of that. I guess I'm not really into collecting action figures and stuff like that. It's just not what I just don't have time for it. I don't have time for, I have a massive a record collection. You see all these records on the wall here? All right. I got all these records. They go all the way to the floor, from the ceiling to the floor. I've got the other wall. That's all records. That whole wall is all records from ceiling to the floor. All right, that's me. That's my whole life, DJing since 1976. I've gotten rid of a lot of the records. I had double the amount of records. That's what you've seen on those walls. And I weeded through a lot of all that stuff and got rid of it all because, a lot of it's 12-inch singles from back in the day. The collector's pieces I kept. Favorite one. Favorite one what? What's your favorite one? Is that what you're asking me? What's my favorite one what? I don't know. My favorite song? I don't have a favorite. I would have never lasted in the business if I had any specific artist that was my favorite. I'll tell you what I do like in genre wise. When I started out, I was a rock and roll fanatic. I loved rock. You know what I mean? And what happened was I got thrown into the dance scene with the disco, and I started DJing, and I started seeing all them tiny heinies, moving, and man, I'm like, damn, I didn't realize all the girls loved this music. I started playing disco music, and when it first came out, back when it was new stuff, back in '76, all the way through '83, '82. So from '76 all the way through '83. That is my favorite music to listen to in the dance genre. I want to say disco to funk, all that stuff was really good stuff to me. You know. Um, Now let me explain something a lot of people don't realize if you're not a musician. The one thing about disco music back in the day, they were orchestras that put that music together. A lot of it was well made. It wasn't just. It was flamboyant. Yes, it was part of the gay scene. Worked a couple of gay bars back in the day when I was young. And I just kept my back to the wall. I never bent over for the soap, that kind of thing. I was a straight guy in a gay club DJing. But made for an interesting night watching all that stuff, especially being young. Uh, but, I'm not against people that are gay. I could care less. Whatever floats your boat, baby. Whatever gets it done is good for me. It's good for you. It's good for me. But I'm a straight guy, always was, and been married most of my life. But I never got caught up in the egocentric end of the DJing. I'm not a DJ I don't have an ego. I'm more about, I just love music. And I love making people have a good time, having fun, dancing, and even if they're just wiggling in their seats. See, now I'm playing to an older crowd, and a lot of people that are old like me, some of them, they don't dance anymore, man. They'll break a hip if they do. So they can't do all that disco dancing. There's a handful of people that can still do it, but not a lot of people. So you don't pack the dance floors like you used to. But I sit there and I get off watching them dancing in their seats when they're raising their hands and they're having a good time and everybody's having a good time. That's what really sells it for me. You know what I mean? It's all about making people have fun. Um, so, there's just been an adjustment in life with how I approach DJing. I just want people to enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm one of these guys. I believe in request too. I think you have to do request because you can't just be this DJ that doesn't take on requests. It just doesn't. It's just not good. Just not a good thing to do. Now, a lot of people, I don't like it when people, you know, you got a packed dance floor, you're in a groove, and all of a sudden they come up and they ask for, you know, you're dancing. Now it's dance music. You're playing dance music, and they ask for something that's just completely left field that will completely wipe out your dance floor. Sorry, you're not going to hear that song. Got no, well, at least not now. Not until everybody's cleared off my dance floor, and then I'll, you know, flirt with the idea if it's really a obscure song or something that's different. Yeah, especially in this day and age, man, everybody's so down in the dumps and so depressed and angry. Everybody hates each other. You know, we got such a divided country right now. You know, I just want to make people have fun, you know, have a good time. So, you know, when I go to work, it's all about having a good time. But this is the sculpture. This is where it's headed. What do you guys think? My phone's about to die. I got to put this on the charger. Um, so I'm going to probably bid you guys a good night and thank you guys all for. Let me see if was there anybody on that I didn't see. Yeah, what was my favorite one? I'm not sure what the question was. Do you collect figure stuff? Lean, Crusher, Carrie Fisher. Okay, I didn't miss any of your comments. I saw them all. Cool. So, yeah, I want to say goodnight to everybody. You got a little bit of me sculpting uh, and doing some pretty cool stuff here. So, yeah, how old are you, Crusher? Real quick before you take off. Just, you know, you don't have to give me an exact number, right around the number. How's that? You in your early 30s, early 40s, early 20s, mid 20s, upper 20s, whatever. You know, nobody likes to share too much information on here. Just get a general idea of where you at generation wise. Oh, you're young. Okay, man. Heed my warning. Take care of your body, man. Trust me. Take care of it. Go to the gym. Don't overdo it. Don't play hard sports. Uh, you know, and find your passion in life. All the money in the world won't give you happiness. I can tell you this, and I'm going to give you an old something my grandfather said. He's been dead since 1985, and he was 78 when he died. But he was a dirt farmer. He wasn't poor. He wasn't rich, and he said something to me right around your age that I'll never forget, and it made sense when I got older. And remember these words, and you might want to even write them down. The rich man is not the man with the most. The rich man who is the man who needs the least. Let me repeat that. The rich man is not the man with the most. The rich man is the man who needs the least. Now, none of that makes sense at your age because we're all striving to be, we want cars and houses and all these things. But remember this, all these things that we get and we collect over the years, they can imprison us. We become a slave to all the things we own. All right. And we collect over the years. I have this house, I got all the stuff that's in it. And, you know, I'm a slave to it now. And I would love to unload most of this stuff at this age, you know, and just say, you know, live a real simple life, get into a real small house. Do yourself a favor, stay small, live efficiently. That doesn't mean take away any of your pleasures. Travel, go see things, go do things, live out of a handbag. Well, good. I'm glad that I can help you with that. You know, I raised two of my kids. They're 30 and uh, 20, or one's almost 29 and 28. I had to think about it. They're older, they're successful, but they're loving kids. They're not the kind of they're not they're good kids, and I always tried to raise them in such a way where You know, always respect people, always respect and help people. Always try to help people too as well. You know, there's sometimes people are in situations that that need help, and but you can't help those that don't help themselves too. You know, especially when it comes to drugs and stuff like that. If they're not helping themselves, and no matter what you give them or what you know, whatever you do for them, they're going to throw it away or they're not going to use it properly. You know, and it doesn't really help them out of their situation. So I always say to my kids, you know, you can help people that are willing to help themselves too. They have to be willing to go along and do something with that help that you give them. Not just throw it away or waste it. You can give somebody a pile of money, and if they don't do the right things to get themselves on track to being able to maintain themselves, they just spend it recklessly and don't really, you know, do anything to help themselves really in the long run. It's like somebody that, you know, let's not even go to that extreme, like living in the streets or something. Let's look at a situation where somebody is, you know, they're struggling. Their apartment bills, or you know, they can't pay their rent this month or whatever. You know, you give them the money for the rent, and then they use it this month, and then next month they're in the same boat again. So my thought is, if I'm going to help somebody, I'm going to help somebody go to school. I'm going to help somebody do something to better their situation. You know, that's what you have to do, and they have to be willing to do that. So always remember that going forward. So never let anybody take advantage of you in that way. And also always never help somebody to the point where you render yourself helpless. You can't give away the farm and keep the cows. Doesn't work that way. You get rid of the farm, the cows are going to go with it. So just so you know that going forward. But also, main thing is find your passion, because money comes in life, comes and goes, you know. But if you really find something you love in life, if you really find your passion in life, you never work a day in your life. You really don't. You never work. And if you keep your life simple and not trying to buy the Lamborghinis and the big, keep everything simple. All right, Crusher, man, it's your life. You got a full life ahead of you, man. I'm 60 years old. These are the things that I've learned the hard way through life. Is basically, I wish I had been more conservative with owning a lot of crap. I just think that we own too much stuff. We have too much stuff. Keep it simple. Do a tiny house. Find a place, you know, in a low tax area, and you know, maybe even go off grid. You know, I mean, I was always a fan of that. But the problem with off grid is, if you don't have the health getting older, you know, you end up being in a bad situation. You can be in a bad situation if you're not healthy. You know, so, and we don't know what we're going to end up with. You know, if your father passed away, was it his own doing? And I'm not asking you to answer that. Don't answer that. That's your personal business. If it's his own doing, or is it something that developed over the years that he, you know, died from or suffered with? You know, we are genetically connected. We end up pretty much getting the same things that our parents give us. So, with that being said, you know, wood being, are you going to be, you know, keep yourself healthy. That's what the main thing is. Health is everything, man. If you're healthy and you can keep yourself in shape, don't do anything that's too, sports are dangerous. I played semi-pro football. It destroyed my body in such a short period of time. You know, big guys pounding on you, man, it's just not a really good thing to do. I mean, I was fairly big myself at one point, but you know, it destroyed my body. Some people get away and they never have a problem in their life after playing football or something, but most don't. And no matter what it is you do, whether it's you have to think about, when you're this age, later on in life is when everything kicks you in the butt. It's not so much now. Now you feel indestructible. When you're 17, 18, 20 years old, 25 years old, man, you feel strong. You feel, you feel you feel amazing. When you get older, man, it ain't like that. And everything you do to your body, you pay for it in an older age. So I'll give you that advice. And keep your life simple. Don't over thing, especially today's age. Everything costs so damn much. So keep your life real simple. You know, that's the most important thing. Is having the best looking car. I know you struggle. See, you're always trying to get the girls. If girls are what you're into. Keep yourself in shape. Accidents happen. We're never going to avoid those. We can all drop dead at any moment. An accident happens to us. You just never know. So I'm sorry for your loss. And I know, especially if you're close to your father or your mother, I lost both my parents. I just lost my mother. She was 81 years old this past Memorial Day. She died on Memorial Day. She was 81. But no matter how old they are, it still hurts. You still miss them. I can still hear her voice coming through the walls over here. Occasionally when I'm sitting in my studio here, I can hear her cracking up on the phone with her friends or her sister or, sisters. She's got a couple of them. So I can still hear her talking every once in a while in my head. You know, you hear their voices. But love the memories. Always look at the positive, never the negative. That's another thing too. Flush the negative out. Anything that negative that happened through your life with your father or your mother, forget about them because they don't care about that now. They're in a good place. They're looking down at you. They're definitely there. I know that with the dreams that I've gotten through with my parents. And Jeff Lynne made disco sound good. Who's Jeff Lynne? Why don't I know that name? So anyway, I'm running out of battery here, guys. I'm down to like 8%. This thing's going to cut off on me. And this is a long video. It's 203 minutes. So I'll upload this. I don't care. Yeah, and you know what? He's going to guide you through life. You're going to think that that's crazy. Some people don't believe in that stuff, but they have ways of reaching you, and you don't even know it. And all of a sudden, something will click, and a thought will come through your mind, and you'll go. All of a sudden, you'll hear your dad's opinion. It's hard to explain. I can't explain it, but every time I do something or say something, I hear my dad's voice coming out of my own mouth. And the wiser you get, the older you get and the wiser you get, you will realize just how much your father was influential on you and your mother. They're both influential, but I just, like I say, you just, cherish the good times. Always remember the really fun things that you got to do with your father. Hopefully you did get to do a lot of things with your dad and hope you were close. But even if not, try to look at it from his shoes. It's always easy to be upset about somebody not being there a lot for you, but in a roundabout way, sometimes they're there for you, but in different ways. In other words, somebody that works a lot, to try and keep the house over, keep the roof over your head, the food on the table. You can never fault for somebody for doing that because they're working for you. They're trying to provide for you to give you a decent life. And I started life with my kids late. I was 31 when I had my first kid. My daughter was born in '93. So I was 31 when she was born. And I had my wild oats sowed at that point in my life for sure. I've done everything I ever wanted to do in my life, and I was ready to settle down. I was ready for that. Make sure you're really ready if you ever decide to marry later on in life or whatever. Just make sure you're ready. That's important. And make sure the person you're with is really compatible. Love only goes so far. You know, you have to like a lot of the same things too. That's important. You know, you guys are. It's funny. Me and my wife, I can sit in there and I can almost guess what she's thinking before she thinks it. You know, it's been a lot of years together, but that's what happens. Um, you know, my kids are loving. We love each other. Always tell them I love them. I don't believe in being. I know my dad was tough. He came from a different breed. My parents were tough love. Yeah, man, that's tough. That's sad because you share a lot of good memories. You know, my dad with me, believe it or not, he's the one that got me hooked on Star Trek. He was a big fan of Star Trek, and you know, there's a lot of good memories, a lot of great memories with my father. I have some things I'm not proud of that happened through the years with him, um, but looking back as I've gotten older, I realize how right he was and how wrong I was. I can look back now and say, man, he was right. He was absolutely right. You know what? Maybe he needed to kick my ass a little harder. I swear to God, you know, he was right. There was nothing he was. I can't think of one thing that he was wrong about, tell you the truth. I can't think of one thing. I think the only thing that I wish I had a little bit more of is knowing that my father, or said, you know, had said that he loved you. You know, they grew up in different. Back in those days, man, your father never said, "I love you, son." You know, he never. They never said that kind of stuff. And that was one thing that I made sure that I always did with my kids. I always told them, "Look, I love you guys," and I gave them hugs, and I gave them, kiss on the forehead. I'm not going to do any of that lip stuff, but too old school for that. But you always have to show affection. Always show affection for your kids, and even when they get older. When things are tough, always let them know you're right there with them. Yeah, it's heavy. That's heavy stuff, but it's truth. I don't. The one thing I don't do is I don't hide behind bullshit. I'm a real guy. I'm not a. I don't believe in lying. Yeah, well, you know what though? You're young. You're young. And you're looking from a different perspective. I lost my father when I was 31 years old. Actually, it was the year my daughter was 1 years old. So I was a little older when I lost my father. You're only 17 years old, so you know you're dealing with stuff that's heavy at a very young age. So I know how tough that can be, and I know I don't know how tough that can be. I'm sorry, I don't. But to not have a father, um, anytime you want to talk, I'll reach out to you, man. I'll give you my personal contact information, and if you want to reach me on my email, you can reach me on my email and then give me your phone number and stuff. And if you need somebody to talk to or anybody to help you, I would not try to tell anybody what to do in school because you stick to school, but I'm not a brainiac with that. I'm an artist. I'm not a real bookworm kind of guy. I've always done everything with my hands. I've done a lot of farm work. I've done a lot of things. Um, but anyway, let me get to the point. I'll send you here's my email address. Ready? Write it down. I'll repeat it twice. D as in dog, J as in jump, Styles, two Y's, STYYLES at Verizon.net. All right. That's D as in dog, J as in jump, Styles, STYYLES, at Verizon.net. All right. You can reach out to me there, and I will, I'll give you my personal information. And if you need anybody to talk to or anything, you can always give me a call. You can always call me. Um, I don't know. Some people need help just in a little bit of guidance. But I still believe in keeping life simple. It'll make you happier. You'll be able to travel more. You'll be able to go see whatever you want to go see. You're not enslaved to owning a $50,000 car. You got it, Crusher. You got it. But like I said, uh, just don't enslave yourself with things. Get yourself. It's nothing wrong with building wealth. I'm not saying not save your money and everything and make as much as you can. But it's like me. I think what we did was we focused on saving that money for our kids. We'll give it to them when we pass on. We'll yeah, yeah. That line that's an old phrase. I think that's what you're talking about. The the rich man is not the man with the most. I know my grandfather didn't make it up. He didn't. That's not what I was saying. It's an old line, though. It's an old saying. He said it a long time ago to me when I was 16, and he was a dirt farmer. My grandfather was a dirt farmer. He owned nothing. He was, his it was like me when I was a kid. My favorite toy was the box that the toy came in, or the dirt that the ground it sat on. I played with dirt. It was fun. We didn't have all this technology where you sat in front of a computer all day and played video games. We had to make our own army men out there in the dirt, um, and played war. We used to take spitballs with straws and we set up our army guys and we'd try to knock each other out. And first one to knock out the other side won the game. Um, just stupid, childish things. I'm talking when we were young, I was like probably 8 years old, 9 years old. We played army guys. We used to have those green army men. Like I said, it's just a different time period, just different things. Today, everybody's on the games. Everything's so realistic looking. I think the problem is it doesn't allow for your imagination to grow. That's the only issue with I see with this technology stuff. Your imagination doesn't get used enough. And that's the key to real success in life is having a great imagination. Especially those who struggle with bookwork. You have to have a great imagination. You really do. You have to really be thinking outside the box all the time. So, guys, my battery's about down to 2%. I enjoyed talking to you guys. There's 3 people on. You guys stayed on consistently all night with me, and I appreciate every one of you. Um, love you for that. And I've just talked about things. That's basically it. I haven't really done much in the last hour or so. But, you know, for those that might need that help, I hope it helps you. Being 60 years old does give you a different perspective in life, that's for sure. Um, I look at life as I only have maybe 20 years of living left. My average family lifespan is about 80 years old. Some didn't even make it there, 76. So if I live to 80 years old, that'll be a miracle and a blessing. So that's only 20 years of life. How do I want to spend the rest of those 20 years? Do I want to spend them? And 20 years goes fast. I know you're only 17, But when you're double that age, you're going to look back at those years and you're going, my God, this went so quick. It seems just like it seems like yesterday that I was only 21, 22 years old. It really does go fast. So thanks for sharing, Nick. So life goes so fast, man. It comes at you straight ahead and it doesn't slow down for nobody. So enjoy the ride because that's what it is. It's a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. And that line's been used in movies and everything else, but it's very true. Now that I'm 60, I can look back in life and it's not about getting to one spot or getting to a certain point in your life. It's about the ride. It's about the journey. It's about the enjoyments, the little things in life. Especially you at 17 and not having your father. Hopefully, you have your mother. Um, it's enjoy those moments with your mom. Make them extra special. Do more for Christmas. And I'm not talking about buying presents. I'm talking about go do something together. Enjoy everything you can do with every person that really means something to you in your life. Go the extra mile. Really, I'm not talking about money things. I'm talking about just break out a board game. Do something unique together with your mother uh, that you only do, that only you two do. And then take that memory with you for the rest of your life. I regret that. That's one thing I regret not doing more board games with my mom because when they get older, they can't really do too much. So if you sit down and you do a board game, yeah, trust me, do these little board games, man. You'll have laughter and you'll enjoy, you enjoy your time with your mom. Enjoy, whoever's close to you in your life. You'll have memories. You'll have great memories. Oh, remember when we were talking about that? Just great stuff. Do all the little things that matter. Cook together. Sounds funny, but why not? Learn how to cook. You're 17. I don't know if you can cook or you can't, but why not? Get her to teach you how to cook. Do some things. Learn things. Never stop learning, man. Everything's about learning. It really is. I found her ELO. Yeah, Electric Light Orchestra. Who knew? Yeah, Electric Light Orchestra. But I'll tell you who really put disco on the map. Believe it or not, who really put it on the map? Who really changed the way disco was perceived? I'm going to say the Bee Gees. And I'm not saying it because I'm a big fan of those or anything. I'm not a fan of. I'm no. I'm never one over the other. That's not how I approach music. I just look at because I lived through those times, and I remember even during the '76 through '77, '78, those times there was a lot of independent artists, but they were producer driven. All right, so the producer driven stuff not influential as much. I'll say Donna Summer. Donna Summer was huge, but the Bee Gees already was out before Donna Summer. The Bee Gees really, when they came out with that Saturday Night Fever album and the movie itself, Saturday Night Fever, believe it or not, John Travolta had a lot to do with how disco, became mainstream. Um, but it was the Bee Gees, Donna Summer. Uh, I want to say the Bee Gees, Donna Summer. Don't let me forget anything. Um, all right, it was Bee Gees first, then Donna Summer that came out with her stuff, and then it was Michael Jackson. They were the most influential dance uh, acts that actually took disco to a whole nother level. Then you had Gap, as the early 80s, you started getting the Gap Band and Instant Funk and all that. You had a bunch of different artists that were, they were Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's another huge disco influence. But they it's just there's a lot. There's a lot of great artists out there that really helped disco in a long in the long run. It's just great. Just great music. Great music. A lot of orchestration. A lot of orchestras. Like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Man, I think at one point it was like a 12-piece band. Huge, huge band, man, and they were so tight. I mean, I've seen them twice in my life. I've seen them when they were young, and I've seen them when they were older. Um, that's music. But my battery's about to die, guys, and I thank you so much for listening to me rattle on about nonsense, and some not so much nonsense. Some of the stuff that might help you guys out. Especially you younger guys, and be humble. Be humble in life. Don't always think you know it all. Don't approach life that way, man. Approach it as like, okay, that's a mistake. Okay, I learned from it. Let me move forward. Um, yeah, I'll tell you, there's a lot of good dance music. I'm an old school disc jockey. That's what I am now. I don't like playing a lot of new music because I don't really like the new music. That's for one. Two, I'm old, so it just doesn't fit. Who wants to watch a 60-year-old man DJ a bunch of new music? It just doesn't work. All right, Crusher, you have a wonderful night. Keep positive. I'm sorry for your loss. And like I said, if you're close with your mom, get with her, play games with her, do things with her. Love the ones you love while they're here because they're not here for a long time. We're not here for a long time. So enjoy the ride, man. Keep it simple in life and find your passion. Have a wonderful night. And I want to say that to everybody out there. Find your passion, chase after it. And thank you for watching the video. And find your passion in life, you never work a day in your life. So enjoy the ride, guys. It's the journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. And that's a true statement. Coming from a 60-year-old guy, that's true, down to the ground. No better statement than that. All right, good night, guys. Peace. Love yous all. If you don't hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and share it to your friends, especially if this helps you guys out. Share this video with your friends. It's going to take a long time to upload this. I know it is. So it probably won't be available for a day and a half or so. All right, so peace. Thanks again.